here's the concept. All right, my special, fully produced special. All right, so put that aside for 1 second. So hear me out. So hear me out. They talk about everything. I want to go.
Tell you what I already love.
Yeah.
When you go.
So what I want to do is.
This is hard. You think you can do it? You hating. What's your name? Oh yeah, Dan, man.
Studio lights on.
Hi, my friend. You are going to be right here on the couch.
Awesome, thank you.
Love it. Let me focus you up. Look at the camera for me. Say Biggie Baggy Boger Strings.
Biggie baggy burger strings?
Boger Strings.
Boger strings?
All right, we're good.
I'm curious to see
So
what
if
you
you
get.
spill, I can't buy a new house like you can.
Yeah.
So just
Okay.
keep it on the tray, my friend. Keep it on the fucking tray.
So I see residue on the top, so I know there's some sprinkle. I'm going to go with cinnamon. I'm going to say cinnamon. A cinnamon iced oat milk latte.
Okay.
Tell me how much you agree with that, and if there's any changes you want to make.
Oh, that is fucking good.
Yeah.
That is, wow, that is cinnamon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is fucking good.
That's my focus point.
Oh. I think it's just cinnamon latte, iced latte.
Question, how much do you like it?
I love it.
Do you love it?
A latte. I love it a latte.
Theme music.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah.
Testing. Oh, I sound good.
Oh, I sound good.
Yeah, you sound real good. In fact, you sound so good that I actually think I can sound better now.
Can I tell you what the
Hello. Go ahead.
because of you, who you are,
Yeah.
and I know how, like, you have a very, is that a workout machine?
Yeah. And it's got different resistance on it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
I got it originally for physical therapy, but now I just use it to hang my clothes on. I use it.
Because I was drugged by Ari, whenever someone gets me a drink, I always get there. I have a moment of anxiety where I go, "Oh fuck, is someone trying to go viral?" But
Right.
but
Drink up.
don't even do that game. What is it? Is it an oat milk latte?
You know, I'm not happy with my levels now. Hold on. Hello. Another day is gone. I'm still on my. What if I had if I was trying out for music stuff, like if I had a music producer over and I would use let me check my, ooh, using that
like
as an
you were trying to slide it
opportunity.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, or if you were like, I worked for OnlyFans and you came out and your dick was out of your pants and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
But you're an expert. What do you know? What do you
think about this?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've done that. That's why I had a hard time when I initially moved to Hollywood.
Pun intended.
That's why I had a hard time when I initially moved to Hollywood because I couldn't understand how people could hang around executives and not pitch them stuff. So I would always try to download pitch stuff.
Download pitch stuff.
Yeah, like just on the. That'd be crazy.
Or down low.
Yeah, just on the slide it in.
Yeah, I was waiting tables at a very upscale steak restaurant when Kevin James came in.
I'm Kevin James.
That's what he said, y'all.
I drive a truck.
What?
UPS packages.
Yeah, also.
Larry and Chuck.
And I also protect them all. When dudes walk in here dribbling basketballs, not on my watch.
Right.
Right.
And I gave him the bill and I put a script in it.
No, you didn't.
No, but I did have him at the restaurant. And I thought that would be funny to do.
Just as the thing. Thanks for coming. What about you in a race car? Huh?
Yeah.
Just a thought.
This was a while ago, but it was actually about him being a mall cop. I'm sure it's a coincidence.
It is. You know why that movie was great?
It was great, by the way.
Do you know why it was? Writer's strike.
What does that mean?
There was a writer's strike.
And what made that movie great because of the writer's strike?
No writer could be on set.
Oh, you're taking a strong stance against writers right now.
No, I'm saying that sometimes writers can get a little litigious with their work, and because what they did is they just did the script and they just kind of like ballparked it, and then they let Kevin James just improv everything and do everything himself, like all the crawling stuff. That's all just Kevin trying to be funny on camera. Kevin is a very funny fucking dude.
And you think if writers were there, they'd be like, "Don't crawl."
I think being handicapped and not having writers there forced Kevin to take more of a part in that role.
Oh, that's fair.
And I think that's why it's as good. Adversely, you know what movie's tough to sit through, and I'm a huge fan of.
You gotta give me a hint if you're gonna make it a question.
I love this.
Wait, I'm really struggling with levels here. Hold on. I sound good. Now let me hear you.
I sing the national anthem
We
every
auto-tune
day.
that, by the way.
I sing the national anthem a lot.
I do too. Why do you?
I love it. It's such a fun song to sing.
Oh my God.
Oh, say can you see
By the dawn's early. Well, if you had your own, let me hear. Early light.
what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
And
The rockets.
Let's have some place to go though.
Okay. Hang on. And the rock. No, wait, we're down. Okay.
I want someplace to go.
Okay.
Follow me. Can you follow me? And the rockets red glare. Bum
Bum bursting in air.
Bum gave proof through the night.
These are bombs.
That our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner.
You're peeking. You know your mic?
Oh, yeah.
Banner yet wave.
For the land of the
This is the vulnerable. This is good.
free
And the home
of the
brave. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
That was fun.
Funny stuff, Bert.
Slide it in.
Hi, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try BetterHelp. They help match you up with a licensed therapist in under 48 hours. Visit betterhelp.com/TYSO to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TYSO. This episode is sponsored by Factor Meals. Get tasty, chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door. Head to factormeals.com/TYSO50 and use code TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box. Isn't that interesting? Bert, that code is TYSO50 at factormeals.com/TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box. This episode is sponsored by Kiva, and if you are a long-term Glassman bopper, you know that's a big deal because I am eating Kivas like they are, something that people eat all the time because I eat them all the time. You having trouble sleeping? Check out their CBN-infused edibles, and if you're in California, you could do that with this code. Go to kivaconfections.com/TYSO. Use code TYSO to get 30% off your entire edible order. Drop shipped straight to your door. The link will be in description.
And we're back. What's interesting is it is a fun song to sing. It's a song everyone knows lyrics to. Now,
I disagree.
I'll tell you what happened to
A
me.
lot of people do not know the lyrics to that song.
You're right. I bet you're right about that. I'll tell you what's difficult for me is I got stuck one time in a Star Spangled Banner
Loop,
and I couldn't sing Happy Birthday.
You would do
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. And I couldn't sing Happy Birthday. I couldn't.
How'd you get out of it?
I couldn't. I didn't. It was stuck. And I was at a show and I sang the Star Spangled Banner at a show and someone said it. And it was, I think it was my wife's.
Say that as Borat.
My wife.
Okay.
It was my wife's birthday. And I meant to sing her happy birthday. And so that's not Borat.
No.
But
that's foreign Kermit.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I wonder if I bet that would play. To you. Happy birthday to you.
I think that would play better if you could get to and the Rockets Red Glare on the name birthday's name.
You. Happy birthday to you. You.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rick Glassman. I hope you have the best year of your life. Because they made it so you couldn't sing Happy Birthday.
Who's they?
I sing Happy Birthday in my special.
Who's they?
The powers that be. Try singing Happy Birthday on the TV show. Watch them shut the fuck up. They'll be like, got it.
Maybe on comedies, but not dramas. I sing Happy Birthday on a drama.
What? Yeah, you know how much I paid for it?
$30,000.
It's expensive.
You know, I have a little trick for you. Could you try singing the alphabet, but doing it to the Itsy Bitsy Spider theme?
Hold on. Can I don't think I'm done with Happy Birthday yet. Hang on.
I think we're done with it.
Wait, can I just say one more thing?
Sure. Are you okay if I fast forwarded some of this?
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
We want to keep people here.
Name another song that has monopolized the event. There's one Happy Birthday.
Okay.
That's the one we all picked to sing.
It's the Kleenex of
you got
birthday songs.
You got 9 Christmas songs, 10 Christmas songs, a bunch of Hanukkah songs.
Did you hear my analogy? I would like for you to...
It is the Kleenex of... I don't listen very well.
I know.
It's the Kleenex of Christmas songs. You're right.
No, birthday.
Birthday songs. No, it's the Kleenex of songs.
Right.
Happy Birthday to you is the quintessential...
You're wrong.
Do another
It's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, happy
that's the
birthday.
Pepsi.
Happy to you.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy to you. So happy birthday. Yeah.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday.
Yeah, I think that's more of a...
I'm gonna have to take this. Ooh,
It's yours. Keep
spam
it.
risk. Give me a sec. I have. Go ahead.
Did you just fall asleep like a cartoon character?
Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Will you cut back to him falling asleep like a cartoon character?
I gotta take this. Okay, my hypnotist called. Sorry.
Okay.
So it.
Let me take charge.
Okay.
Could you please sing the alphabet?
Yeah.
You know the alphabet song, the alphabet, and you know where it starts, right?
A.
Perfect. Sing that to the Itsy Bitsy Spider. You know how the Itsy Bitsy Spider song goes?
What if right now you found out I couldn't read? I was like,
I'm trying to find out if you can.
W foot 700. One of the funniest things my daughter ever did to me. We were at an airport lounge, and I go, "What's the Wi-Fi here?" And she goes, "It should be the airline lounge." And I go, "Oh yeah, airline lounge. What is it? What's the password?" She goes, GM78.
Oh, she
just made it up. Niner. I go, "You Niner?" And she goes, "Dad, what do you think? I'm fucking 16. What makes you think I know the fucking air? I'm here too for the first time."
What number did you call?
2, 4, 9er, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I can't hear you. You're trailing off. And did I catch a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
No, it was cordless.
Mm-hmm.
Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah, but the ABCs to the Itsy Bitsy Spider theme song.
Okay. A, B, C, D, Z, D, E, F, and G, E. I don't think I'm doing the alphabet right. A, B, C, D, E, D, E, D, F,
D. You're making Itsy Bitsy being letters.
is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, KLMNOPQRSTUV WXYZ ABCDE.
Okay. Do you notice what's happening?
Did I what?
Will you the ABCs and the Itsy Bitsy Spider are actually the same exact melody. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the Itsy Bitsy Spider. No, it's not.
No, I don't think.
Wait, what am I thinking?
Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the wall. Now you got me. No, you got me in the same loop. I'm in the loop. I can only hear A, B, C, D.
No. I know what it is.
What?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Twinkle,
do the twinkle, twinkle,
little star.
Sing the twinkle, twinkle, little star melody with the alphabet.
C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Yeah. Twinkle, twinkle, little.
No. Elemental P.
Elemental P.
Do you know Elemental P went to school together? That's why they're so close. People love Russian, the Elemental P.
Elemental P. Yeah. That'd be a cool name.
Elemental P?
What's my daughter's name? Elemental P. Elemental P. How do I know an Elemental P?
Yeah,
because people would be like, hold on. How did you get I know, is there like a famous actress named Elemental P? I love that name. It reminded me, yeah. What made you come up with it?
She goes, but you would spell it E-L L M-N-O E-M-N-O
E-L-L-E-M
L-M-O Really try to remember the alphabet.
O-B-E-E L-M-N-O
But isn't the twinkle twinkle and the alphabet are the same?
That's
twinkle, twinkle, little star. YouTube, don't flag us. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah.
Itsy Bitsy Spider and the Battle Hymn of the Republic are identical. I don't remember the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
What else? I watched your special.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Oh, thank
Little Razzle Dazzle.
Yeah.
They your people, one of the 80 that are on the list.
I have a lot right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Do
you want to interject me?
I'd love to interject you. I used to hate when you'd see, like when a comic had a big team, I was like, oh, they're falling off. But if a comic is still in control of their career, then the big team can help. And there's little things that are happening that I'm noticing that are helping. And like, so I did, I'm allowed to execute ideas cleaner than I was in the past with more people.
Give an example of in the past when you couldn't execute something.
I would have a TV show and I'd want to promote it on Travel Channel and I'd come up with a promotion idea and they'd just go, yeah, no. Because sometimes I couldn't execute it in language than what I wanted.
Right.
And so the other day,
you couldn't pitch it.
I couldn't make it clear enough. They couldn't wrap their head around it because it's a little bit of a broad idea.
Right.
And so the other day I had to announce Fully Loaded, my festival. And I said, what I'd like to do is I want to show like that I'm texting everyone. And then a video comes up and then it goes like, hey, do you guys want to come do Fully Loaded? And then have everyone reply, yeah, I'm in. And no one understood it. And then I did it. I made it. I have a team now that I can get like an editor where I go, do you understand what I'm doing? And then he kind of did. I said, no, I gave him notes.
Right.
And then he did it. And then it posted and all the comics involved were like, how the fuck did you do that? That's amazing. But then a couple marketing companies reached out to me and were like, hey man, I really love what you're doing with your marketing of this festival. We would love to work with you in some capacity and just kind of bounce ideas. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. For Razzle Dazzle, I did someone on my team's like, you should do a photo shoot so you have extra visuals for, I'll tell you a perfect example. The announce of my special, Razzle Dazzle. Because I have a team with me, I said, you know what would be cool? Is if I did some old school jazz move, like a Razzle Dazzle dance moves on the stage with a spotlight. And then we film that, and then we could use that and kind of interject it, make it goofy and funny. But like, because I can't dance, that would be cool. And so I ended up shooting that, and then I had it. And so
that's a coincidence. You talk about that. I think your kid's learning the foxtrot, was it, or some old dance?
No.
Yeah, you did.
No. In the special.
Is it unrelated to?
Totally unrelated. Totally unrelated. Yeah, totally unrelated. Well, I say Razzle Dazzle in my conversation. I say it all the time when I want things special. And so, and I do it to Ilo. We're going to do things special with it.
I'm interrupting. I'm sorry, but do you know the old Jordan commercial with Jordan's mom? We could swipe to it, where she goes, let's give him a little razzle dazzle.
No.
Do you not know that?
No.
Swipe to it.
And now give it some razzle dazzle.
I always thought of that from that.
Oh, no. A razzle dazzle was a phrase a guy named John Burston I was working on Travel Channel. It was our first night of working. Good luck getting a picture of him. That'd be cool if you did have a picture of him. And he was our.
I will draw it.
He was our.
Is this him?
Can you see if you can get a picture of him?
Is this him?
Yeah.
Take a look.
Holy shit! How did you get a picture of John Burston?
Yeah.
Holy fuck! Oh wow.
Your team told me to.
So we were working on our first night on Trip Flip.
Okay.
And it was the first time we were doing it in Mexico, and the lady came up masked, and John Burston is a straight dude, but he has a gay affectation,
which is fine.
Yeah, and he and the lady goes, "What can I get you guys as appetizers?" And he had a drink in him, and he just goes, "Oh, Razzle Dazzle," and she goes, "What's that mean?" He goes, "What do you think it means? Just Razzle Dazzle." And it made me laugh, and I've used that forever. He had a few phrases. Throw money at it. You got to spend money to make money. Just throw money at it.
Is he Southern?
He might be. I learned a great deal from this guy. Like about being a man, about a bunch of stuff, but his phrases were the best. One time he overpaid me my per diem, and he goes, he's supposed to dish out his per diem, and I noticed that my per diem was supposed to be like $1,200, and then I noticed that I had like $4,600 in my pocket or something in cash, and I was like, whoa. And I go, Burston, and he goes, I think you might have paid me my per diem. And he goes, don't know, don't care. Razzle Dazzle, baby. I love that guy. But what was I saying? Oh, but in the actual
your team.
So normally when Netflix sits up at talent and says, hey, we'd like to announce your special, a lot of guys just hold the phone up and go, hey guys, my special's coming out March 14th. It's called Razzle Dazzle. It'll be on Netflix. I hope you watch it. And then that's it. And there's not a bunch of razzle dazzle to it. But with this, when you have a bigger team and you have more people, especially, and you have an idea, or if you're like yourself, a very creative person, and you are not short on ideas.
If we're not razzing dazzums,
yeah,
what are we doing?
That's why we got in this business.
Yeah.
That's why we got in this business, is to make cool shit and make each other laugh and giggle.
So something happens that you have got through, but before you got through to where you are,
it was so frustrating.
No, but let me like a hypothesis on this, which is we start off wanting to do this thing. We want to do Razzle Dazzle. It inspired us, and it's what we want to make. One, it's hard and a lot of work, which isn't an excuse, but it's a reality. So when you start doing that thing, I used to do sketches all the time with my buddy DeWalt. When you're starting to travel hours to do 5 minutes at a sushi place, when you're doing all these things, you start to kind of calibrate when the juice is worth a squeeze, right? Like nobody's going to, when I started this podcast, nobody was watching it. I'm glad that I started from the beginning a certain way, but like you could always do more later. But then you come into like a habit of like, this is enough. Most people do what they think is enough.
And it's not.
Then you get to the point where you are, where you have an audience now. So people are going to see it. But if you got to this point without doing all the extracurriculars, why would you do it? Most people don't need to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of my peers who have mocked me openly for my promoting anything, promoting tour dates and my arena tour.
Mocked you for like the way you do it?
Just, yeah, like, oh, I heard a guy, I won't say his name, but he was like, yeah, I won't even do his voice because you'll know who it is. You can figure it out.
We'll bleep it.
My voice?
Yeah. We will not bleep the voice. Don't say his name. Do the voice for me. We're going to modulate your voice so it's not clear. Okay. But I want to see if I could guess who this is.
He's like, yeah, I'm a real comic. I don't put on a Speedo to promote my tour dates. I'm a real comic.
How good of an impressionist do you think you are? Kevin Pollak?
No, it was Kevin Pollak. And so, but and I think some people make fun of stuff they can't do. I think some people, it doesn't come natural to them to promote shows or promote a movie or promote a series or promote even just hosting a television show, even having a podcast. It doesn't come natural to a lot of comics. It makes them uncomfortable. And then you remember how many people shit on people having podcasts? Mm-hmm. Like they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going to be another comic with a podcast."
Podcasts are now the commercials for celebrities.
Yeah,
it's like people never wanted to do TV and then they want to do commercials.
God, man, that's amazing. That's a really insightful view, because I started when not to get too much into the weeds, but I started when you weren't supposed to host a show.
Right.
If you were a host of a show, and
Anything
movie stars didn't do sitcoms, and sitcom stars didn't host, and hosts didn't this, and now it's so whittled down that movie stars have podcasts.
Well, there's so many things to where like I think people are more okay getting the money because nothing is going to define their career relatively.
Yeah.
I want to get into the weeds though.
I would love
with how
to.
much have you ever about your team, about the process stuff. I've never asked you that. This is stuff like if we weren't podcasting, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, and if you're comfortable talking about it here,
100% honest with everything.
So just so you know, if you guys are listening and you're not interested in being in the weeds of this business, which some people don't want to be, skip ahead 45 minutes when we fuck each other on this ottoman.
Oh my God.
Are you gonna be okay with that?
35. Make it 35 and I can speed it up.
YouTube flag shit.
Oh yeah.
They do.
You can't have anal sex within the first 72 minutes.
I would love to cut to some clips I did, but they've been demonetized. Not joking. We animate the hell out of. I fucked Santino in the ass. He fucked me. I fucked Giannis. A lot of blowjobs. But YouTube's really cracking down. I'm not joking.
I know.
But they're choking. But before we get into it, we never got to this. Let me tell you what this is. This is a oat chai latte.
That's the chai is what I'm.
But it also has 3 shots of espresso. So you could also call it just a regular latte with chai. But why add the extra words? It's an oat chai latte with a splash of cold brew and cinnamon. And you know what my coffee place calls it now? As of today?
What?
The Rick.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
They do. I want to get on the board like Larry David.
Is he on the board of your?
No, Larry David in Curb. There was the sandwich shop where the Larry David had like capers and whitefish.
I thought there was a board of directors that ran the coffee shop. Is he on the board?
Oh no. This is Larry's coffee shop.
Yeah.
What's it called? Larry's. What was this coffee shop called? Did you not watch the show?
I didn't watch it much.
Out of respect to my audience, I've been doing this a lot. Let me move the mic. All right. So in your team, we talked. I have one more question about that, and then I want to really get in.
Okay.
You have a team now that like your team isn't just the people that are at Bert.com or whatever. Your team is Bert people. Your team is your publicist people. Your team is Netflix people. Your team is Netflix publicity people. I got your screener, which again, I don't want to bury the lead. I mean, awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Also,
thank
you did something I've seen before, and it's hacky. No. That I think about like this is what specials should be. There's other ways, but it just starts. That's something that I've thought about for a bit now. Like unless it's worth it. Go ahead. I know what I'm thinking, but no, we're on the same page.
It's my biggest frustration when you watch a special and it doesn't start.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Bert Kreischer. Boom.
It starts. It should.
Am I
start.
saying your name right?
Yeah. It should start. And your first. I mean, we're talking. You're on Netflix. You're very precious. Those words you say, those first words you say, are your introduction to your audience. And our job is to make jokes. It definitely should be a joke. I don't need to tell you that this is my favorite city. I don't need to tell you that. That's like. I mean, if you're writing a book, do you go like, I love paper.
Often.
Paper's so fucking cool.
Yes. I know what you're saying, and there's a layer of irony to it, but most of my books start with I love paper. I don't want to get into it, but go on.
This pen writes so good, doesn't it? Oh, wait, I didn't realize that you won't be reading the pen ink that I'm using. It's going to be typed out, but you should know that the pen I'm writing this with
Give me
is
1 second.
so
I got to go to
good.
the bathroom.
Yeah, I love Barnes & Noble. Don't you love Barnes & Noble? Keep it going for Barnes & Noble. It's
Keep it going, even as a writer.
Keep it going for Barnes & Noble. I grew up in Barnes & Noble. Did you know I grew up in Barnes & Noble?
I get it.
It's so good to be back here in Barnes & Noble, the place where I grew up. And so I definitely... I analyzed a lot of specials. I wasn't lucky enough to get specials the way some people were at the beginning. I had to really earn my way to get into a special. And in doing so, I watched other people who got specials before me do things where I went that I respected. I'd go, that's so funny. I wouldn't have done that. And
are you talking about? You're not even talking about the content, right? You're talking about the direction and tone.
The little things like Tom one time did a special, and Tom's one of my best friends.
Shout out Tom.
And he had a sketch, and it was a very funny sketch. I think it was at the beginning of his special, and I thought he should have just. I mean, that's really funny. He should do more sketches
for a sketch show.
But I go, I want to watch a special.
Right.
So I was like, don't get caught up in, because I was going to do a sketch for my machine special. And I didn't. I chose not to. And
I
did
a movie for it instead.
Well, yeah, but
May 25th. Check out the trailer. Link in description.
I also think you should try to be very heavy laugh per minutes up front. I think you should put your strongest bit around 30 minutes, 22 minutes. When they see that the numbers start dropping off, that's when you put your strongest bit, in my opinion. And then you got to write a new closer, because if they're watching the whole thing, you better close strong.
Right.
I have a lot of insights. I was very analytical the way I did Secret Time, my first special. I was very analytical about it because I talked to a bunch of people who would give me their insights. Comics, we'd openly share, and then you'd see like oblivious comics going, I don't know what they're talking about, and you'd be like, I don't bet that person's clueless.
How much does that translate to when you're touring and you're on the road?
100%.
Same thing.
100%. I'm consistently for 18 months I'm working on that special and working in different ways. There's a period of time where I'll drink on stage and let it fuck up, because I believe the best way to write is on your feet. And if you're drunk and you mess up a bit, you then are forced to think in the moment. You're forced to.
That's just a saying that you write high and you edit sober.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's different for everybody, but I've heard that before.
Yeah, and so and then that last month, the month before I am filming it. I live on my tour bus. I'm on the road every single day,
which looks unbelievable, dude.
It's so much fun.
Your Instagram is
if you ever
voyeuristic.
I think it would drive you nuts. But if you ever want to come on the road with me,
of course I want to come. On the road with
I think it might drive you fucking absolutely nuts.
Well, I could always stop. And there's actually, and I've thought about this. There's something I want to talk to you about, and I'm not sure how much I want to talk about it on here because I just don't want to reveal it yet. But maybe I will if we get into it and we could edit it out or something. Yeah. But there's something I want to talk to you about I'm not going to get into it now. A special idea that it's going to take time, and I want to make sure that we talk about this. I want to talk to you, and we could always do this another time.
Okay.
But this has been something I've been, I don't want to say working on, but thinking about heavily for almost a month now. Before we even scheduled this, I'm like, I need to talk to Bert about something.
Okay.
But it involves a special and involves similar to how some of the stuff I've sent you that I've made, filmed that way, where I am making a special as Rick Glassman, but it's not exactly me. And I think it's brilliant. And
so here, can I tell you the one insight I have that I've accrued, and I don't believe in giving people advice because I never listen to people's advice. I mean, I'll take advice from like Rogan and stuff, like big, but you
don't need to qualify. Just tell me. I'll take what I take.
Do the thing that you think is funny. Do not listen to a fucking soul, because lately every idea I've had that I've followed through with, everyone's. I mean, I won an award for one when I wanted to do the drive-in movie theaters. Everyone told me it was the dumbest idea in the fucking world. Everyone. My agent found a way to do it. Got some electronic dance promoters to set up a stage at drive-in movie theaters. Did it? I won a fucking award.
I like to have this. When you're being this specific about stuff, because I love what you're saying and I subscribe to this. I want this to be able to translate to people outside of comedy.
Yeah.
So if there's any times we could use words like, just consider that, because that's a life philosophy, not just with what's funny, but with like what you believe in and what your perspective is and what you want to do and share. I just want to open that up to people that are listening. And
so often there's an idiot that works with you that is above you that'll tell you how it is.
Yeah. And
those people very seldomly know how it is.
Well, it is how it is for them.
Yeah.
There's so many different versions of what is. But yeah, there's a blindness. This is something that is a big part of my life, especially over the past little bit with new awareness, that like people don't realize that there's other ways of doing things.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they're wrong, but it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Anyway, I'm interrupting. I'm sorry. This is bigger than comedy to me.
I had a job at Barnes & Noble, and my manager, Dwayne, pulled me aside and said, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a comedian. And he goes, yeah, no. You work at Barnes & Noble. Don't ever forget that. And I was like, wow. I was like, that guy's not going very far in life.
It turned out to be Steve Jobs.
It was Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
right. I forgot. I was like, did he say the name?
But it's so often.
Imagine.
So often people tell you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I mean, everything I've done in my career, I've literally had people say, and very important people, you can't do that. It's not going to work. You just follow the rules.
How much do you think your experience of this is related to the idea of what you said before you had a team, which is you didn't know how to articulate yourself a certain way? Yeah. Do you think that all the times people said you can't or no or it's not enough was based off of the difference in vision from the way you wanted to execute it versus explain it?
Well, I'll give you a very perfect example. Awesome. I can articulate I can articulate myself. It's just sometimes with big ideas. Well, when I worked at Travel Channel, there's a company called HGTV.
Yeah. And
they had a very popular series called the Crashers series. It was bath crashers, yard crashers, fucking kitchen crashers.
Didn't Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson do one of those?
No, they did wedding crashers.
Right.
But I adamantly pitched moat crashers. And they're like, what's that?
Castles?
I said, well, that's the log line of the show. Every man's home is his castle. Every castle deserves a moat. I said, let's go find someone who's let's just build a moat. Build a moat around a house.
I'm in.
And yeah, immediately I'm in. And by the way, if you show me on YouTube a guy that's building a moat around his house, I'm going to probably watch the entire thing.
A residential house?
I've watched indigenous people build.
Love those things.
It's my favorite things.
With just building like hot tubs and
hot
stuff.
Hot tubs in the middle of the jungle with bamboo. It's the best.
And by the way, they're like 15 minutes sped up, and I never fast forward.
I never fast forward either. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. And so I said, let's do a special moat crashers. We go to a Home Depot. That's just the way they do it. We'll find a guy and go, hey, in the shovel section, you guys building a moat? He's like, no. I go, do you want one? And one fool's going to be like, I'll take a moat. Yeah. And then you're going to build a fully functioning moat around the guy's house. So I pitched it to them and they all laughed.
Brilliant.
And I said, hold on, I'm not joking.
But wait a minute. Them laughing is not a bad thing.
No, but they laughed and they go, okay, good one. And I went, no, I'm being serious. I go, hold on, do you think people will watch it? And they're like, now who's going to want to? And they start being negative about it at first. And by the way, these are like the heads of networks. And I'm like, and these are like important people. And I said, no, but hear me out. Would you watch it? And they're like, well, yeah. I go, let me soft pitch it to you. Me and Tony Saragusa, Jason Cameron. I start pitching names of the talent that we could get to do it. And they're Josh, and they're like, well, I mean, yeah, hold on. You can't do that. No one's going to want a moat. And I go, but hold on. There's an idiot that'll take a moat and it'll be absolutely fun and hilarious. And I was like, and if you just say yes now, we can workshop it and make it a better idea. And I just think they didn't have the ability to see out of the box. I pitched them, you ready for this? I pitched scripts when I worked at, that's who owned all that. I pitched them probably, I was 37 years old. So whatever that is, I'm 50 now. So 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I took a very popular lifestyle company. They had HGTV, DIY, Food Network, Cooking Channel, Travel Channel, and another one. And I pitched them, can I start a podcast network for you? And they're like,
how long ago did you start your podcast?
12 years ago.
So it was right when you were doing this.
Right when I started, I said,
I want to do it with you guys.
I said, I would like to do it with you guys.
Right.
And I would like your ad sales company very quickly can integrate. And I'm going to set up podcasts for all the stars of your network. Right. Now they all have podcasts. Right. This is 13 years ago. I want to set them up, get Andrew Zimmern, get Alton Brown, get Bobby Flay. And I go, think of this. The beginning of Bobby Flay's podcast, you hear New York City.
Shout out to Beat Bobby Flay, by the way. Whenever I'm home with I love going home to Cleveland. I go for like a month at a time. Shark Tank and Beat Bobby Flay, we're just nonstop watching.
Guy Fieri, I put Guy Fieri on my podcast, on my cooking show. The numbers skyrocket. Yeah. I had Bobby Flay on my podcast.
Triple D,
skyrocket.
Baby.
I said,
you had Flay on too?
Yeah.
I got to send that episode to my dad. You cooked with him?
No. I haven't had him on my podcast. Cooking Channel has a weird deal with.
Oh, you could do something burning?
Can't cook with him, no.
Could he eat the food you cook?
No, he can't be anything associated to cooking.
I want to brag kind of for a second and say a similar thing happened to me, and I don't know if it's true or not. I'm doing a show at the Improv, and some of my friends are going. One of them asked for a +1 for his friend Tracy McGrady. Obviously not Tracy McGrady, but like that's his name. When I get to the Improv, it's fucking Tracy McGrady.
Oh, for real?
Whose shoes I was wearing in high school as a kid, and had a great set. I went to a basketball game one day, and it was a Lakers game, and he was doing commentary, I guess, because I was leaving. I was going through one of the hotels to get out to the street, blah, blah, blah. And some guy comes up to me, and he goes, hey, yo, my buddy wants to say what up. And I look over, and it's fucking T-Mac over there. And I go over and we're talking, and he wanted me to come over, and we got to see you again, and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, I message him on Instagram every now and then. Always writes back. And I asked him to come on the pod, and he said he has a deal with ESPN. He's not allowed to. And my thought was, it's not a sports podcast. Yeah. And I feel like he was letting me down. I mean, excuse me, let me down, like being kind.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying I don't want to. Do you think he's not allowed to?
No, I think he's probably not allowed to. Only because some of those, because I wasn't allowed to do a lot of stuff. I wasn't allowed to do Ari Shafir's storytelling show. And Ari still thinks to this day, because
of what?
The Travel Channel didn't want me to. They didn't want me to do a comedy special. They didn't want me to do.
Why are these people?
Because they have money invested in you.
But they want your fan base to grow.
No. They don't care about your fan base. They care about taking care of their fan base. Travel Channel at one point said, they were like, we want people to watch television and watch you on television and watch you on our television, because those brand deals they have, they could be able to sign a deal with me with Carnival Cruise, which they did. We signed a deal with Carnival Cruise. We signed a deal with Subaru. And if Subaru's all of a sudden flipping around and they see me on Comedy Central going, and then this bear's got me in the ass and he's raping me, and I'm going, marshmallow, they may go, why the fuck did we invest in this guy?
This episode of TYSO is brought to you by Kiva. I talk about Kiva all the time, so you already know them by now, unless you haven't seen this podcast before. I am pretty much exclusive with my edibles to Kiva. I eat other ones. I've had other ones. I'm not going to not eat other ones. And I would say 95% of the time, I'm taking Kivas. They're so consistent. What I love about this is not only do I love the high, I eat 2.5 milligrams or 5 milligrams. I know what I'm feeling every time. The chocolate, not that it matters that much, I think, when you're trying to get high, but it's so good. I would be eating these if there was no weed in it. If you don't live in California, you can't use my code, but that doesn't mean you can't get them. I know they have them in other states. Just go to your local place and pick up some Kivas. They got gummies, they got other stuff, but I'm a chocolate baby. I love their chocolates. For everyone in California, we have a code for you to get some sweet dreams tonight. Try our CBN-infused edibles. Go to kivaconfections.com/TYSO. That's kivaconfections.com/TYSO. And use code TYSO to get 30% off your entire edible order, drop shipped straight to your door. Okay, so I told you a little bit about Factor meals, but now let me show you a little bit. JonMichael, swipe to it. What is this one? 3-bean veggie chili. Don't mind if I do. I'll probably be eating this one now. Head to factormeals.com/TYSO50 and use code TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box.
Yeah, use goated. Say goated. No. Yes, you gotta say we gotta get a younger demographic. Say goated.
I'm not gonna say goated.
Say it's lit.
No, man. I'll tell you what. Oh, it is goated though. Yeah. It's caramelized onion. Bro.
Are you too busy to cook? With Factor, skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, the prepping, the cleaning too. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. Choose from keto, vegan, veggie, calorie smart, and protein plus options on the menu each week. Head to factormeals.com/TYSO50 and use code TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box. That's TYSO code 50 at factormeals.com/TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box. Link in description. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I love therapy. For those of you that watch my podcast regularly, you know that. If you're just coming on in for the first time, maybe you don't know that. So push on into me. I love therapy. Now you know it. I've been in therapy for a while. Sometimes I'll go every week for months and months at a time. You learn when to check in for yourself. If I'm feeling triggered, to recognize it quicker and to recognize what that means. Therapy is great, and BetterHelp is a very convenient way to get into it. You get it, but maybe you don't want to get into therapy, or maybe you think it's too difficult to start. Well, BetterHelp is entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TYSO for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/TYSO. Oh, and one more thing.
And so it makes sense to me. And so if he brings you on here and you decide to say something sideways that may fuck with their money that they already have on their ad sales on their show, it does make sense. By the way, it's hard to get certain people just, I mean, I don't know, whatever.
Well, you don't want to say a name?
Yeah. But my point is...
Kevin Pollak?
It's Kevin fucking Pollak. God damn it, man.
He's great, by the way.
By the way, he's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I've worked with him once, and he's a fucking game changer.
Where'd you work with him on?
Tampa Improv.
Oh, it's stand-up.
I opened for him. So I pitched to Scripps, a fucking podcast network, 12 years ago. This was my pitch. You hear it's an audio. By the way, we weren't even doing video yet. Now, video video fucking podcasts would be fucking amazing. I have one called Something's Burning, and it's doing better than any product they have over there online. No, but
Glassman bobbed.
I go, think of this. You hear this is for an audio podcast. You hear New York City, right?
You hear an example of New York City.
Hey, move out of the way, you dumb gentleman. I'm transgendered. Like whatever. And so I don't know. I was trying to improv. I'm not good at improv. And then you hear, hey, Bobby Flay. What's up, Bobby Flay? What's up, Bobby Flay? Hey, it's good to see you guys. You hear all that. And then you hear a door open and a door. No. He's not going into a cavern. No, a door open. Like a car. No, hold on. A car door open. That'll do. And then the door close. And you no longer hear in New York City.
Right.
Hey, this is Bobby Flay. Today we got a great episode. I want to first of all thank our sponsors, Mercedes.
Do it like Bobby Flay, please.
Hey, this is Bobby Flay. I want to first thank our sponsors, Mercedes. Mercedes is a good group of people. I love working with them, and then the car they got me in today is amazing. It's the 550 SEL, and as you can tell, it's an oasis. It's an oasis. I'm driving downtown. We're going to my buddy Vino Papadelli's restaurant, and down there I got Michael Stipe. He's gonna have dinner with us, and we'll have a conversation. We're gonna talk about music. We're gonna talk about food. It's Bobby Flay. Hey, we're pulling up right now. Door opens. The sound of the city. Intro music comes in.
What's
the Bobby
Flay? What's the song?
It's just
No, the song. What's the intro song?
Sabotage. It's a sabotage. And then he walks, and then this podcast starts, and he does a podcast where he has dinner and talks, and they talk about food, and they talk about life and music. And I go, it's a fucking home run. Now, Bobby Flay, for a period, did a podcast. He did, because I talked to him about it and got him into it. But I don't think he needed a little direction. He needed someone with a little more, like, to go like, this is what I think it should be. And I was going to run the podcast network. I was going to set up everyone with podcasts.
I want to hear about the moat thing. How come you aren't doing this on your own now?
That's the direction I'm moving in. Now I can make the ideas I want to make. Right. I pitched Something's Burning to Food Network. I sat down and before I sat down and I said, I would like to do Something's Burning. And
dude, this is also kicking now a little late.
It's kicking in too.
I love this. I love the way you think and what things you want to do.
Yeah.
I also think it's so cool that you're at a place to where you get to execute. I do this stuff, but I do it all on my own and with my friends and peers. I don't have the kind of world that you have at the moment. And to see a kid, you, wanting to do these things, and now you've grown it so much and you get to make it. What a fun fucking thing you get to do, man.
I'm so excited. I
mean, stand-up is such a small part of what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, because I see things. I was very blessed to work at Travel Channel because I got to see how the business of making things work. Like the business of making television.
That's why I want to get in the weeds with you about.
Yeah, the business of making television. The business of podcasting. I kept telling people
it's the same thing, isn't it?
It's not yet. It could be there. I think integrations.
The business. I'm saying the execution.
Yes. It's an ad sales driven market.
Yeah.
You have people that have a product that need people to hear about their product, and they need an audience. We create a content that gets that audience, and then you get one person who will take 20% of your earnings, give you 80% of their earnings, and they connect us together. And then we do
what upfronts are, right?
We should be doing. They tried to do podcast upfronts, but the business wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And I remember pitching the scripts. I said, I go to these upfronts, and I hear Food Network say we have the #1 magazine in the food space, and I felt like saying to them, magazine? Like, who's reading? Like, you shouldn't be proud to say about magazines. They're going away. You should go. We have the #1 podcast. We have the #1 podcast in the food space, the home design space, the travel space. That's the future.
I want to get into other stuff with you.
Okay, good,
because that's great.
Yeah.
And if we were doing this weekly, that would make this episode.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I want to get back into where I was first inspired by it. You have this team now, and you're able to do things that you couldn't do before. And you said when most people, when they have a team, that means they're falling off. I'm curious what that meant.
So often you see talent grow, but the talent, so often the talent is just talent. They just needed to be shepherded. They just need to be shepherded into places. and then be themselves. Very seldom do you find someone like Kevin Hart, who is a powerhouse.
Jumanji guy.
The Jumanji guy.
Didn't he do the movie with your old boss from Barnes & Noble?
Yeah. Dwayne.
Yeah.
Dwayne.
So you're saying a talent who is also basically a producer.
There's the move of you're a great comic. You're a big comic. Time to build a production company around you. And then they build a production company around you, but you don't really have any vision. And so, it happens. You hit one hit movie.
Could you do this? This is bothering me. I see how the wire is off.
Yeah. And they accept the fifth special. They accept the book. They accept the thing. They accept this. But they don't really have any vision other than the stuff that's being brought to them. And I think I was someone who all I had were visions. All I had were ideas, and there were weird ideas. There were ideas that were really out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started adding people to my team, I started noticing, like, first person I added to my team was a guy named Halston to run my podcast.
Yeah, shout out to Halston.
And
super nice.
He's a great guy.
And he was a fan of yours.
He was a fan of mine, yeah.
He like ran into you on purpose, right? Or something?
Something like that. He was walking down my street. He was like, Bert, I know Bert lives around here because he always talks about the Jack in the Box. And me and Isla were out front having a catch. And he was like, hey,
Oh, that's so special. We have a surprise. I didn't realize it's already been enough time. Everybody, cancel endangered missing advisory. Details to follow. I don't know. Also making a joke about somebody like stuck in a well or something.
It's a flood.
Yeah.
But I added him, and then I just noticed how I didn't have a problem with ad sales with ads anymore because he put them in, and I didn't like what. This is a perfect example. What you just did, I was doing all the time.
Yeah.
And I am not present often, so I wasn't present in interviews because I couldn't listen because I was like, am I still recording? Because I did do a podcast without recording one before, and that's pretty frustrating.
Oof.
Last
week I recorded, it's not the same, but last week I recorded 3 commercials. And I also sometimes you're in the pocket and sometimes you just do it.
Yeah.
I was in the pocket and I didn't press record on the audio. And I was considering could I just use the camera? I lost it.
Dude.
Let alone a whole episode of somebody's.
That was the first person I added, and that was a game changer. Then I got an assistant, and the assistant.
How successful are you at this point when you get an assistant, money wise?
Well, how much do you need to make to get assistant?
Yeah,
I think.
Are you comfortable talking money publicly?
100%.
Yeah. So
my money's been published publicly.
So what? How much are you making before you're like, all right, it's worth it for me to have an assistant?
You got to make a million, couple million, I think.
Okay.
Is my opinion, because what that does is at that point you've got so much business coming in, you just need someone to filter it and go, hey, we need an answer for this. We need an answer for this.
Did you have to train somebody? Or did you find somebody that was already an assistant, or both?
At first it was my cousin Andrew, who was awesome, but it's also my cousin. So we just hung out. Like he was my assistant in the movie in Serbia. And once I did the movie in Serbia, that's when I was like, oh, I definitely need a full-time assistant. I need an assistant.
By the way, at some point, maybe after it's out or something, if you have the time, I want to do this again and talk to you about that.
I would love that.
Because that's insane.
I would love
but
that.
I still want to talk business with you.
Yeah, no. So then once I got an assistant, then everything was a little easier. Everything was set up for a little bit for you to slide into situations and do what you were good at and then slide out of them.
All right, I'm going to be interrupting you a lot more than I have.
Good. No, it's
okay. So you have a podcast now. Now you're doing stand-up. You were doing stand-up for a while. You have your podcast. This is not the point, but for scale, I want to know around what year you started around 2010, 2009.
Stand up?
No, podcasting.
Yeah. Roughly.
Around what year was the podcasting a thing where it's like, oh, okay, this is now a legit income stream and part of my business?
When I was 44. So if I started my podcast at
7 years ago?
38, 7 years ago.
So 2015-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2015, you're like, okay, wait a minute, it's not just stand-up. And you were doing Travel Channel stuff too. I have to imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, that wasn't huge income.
I would say roughly like $600,000 a year.
From Travel Channel?
Yeah. So I signed a deal. I signed an overall deal with them, and then so it was set up for X amount for I think $350,000 a year.
Wow.
But what happened outside of that deal? And by the way, I could be misremembering, so I apologize if anyone but it's been a while. I think that's the right number because I know we signed a 3-year deal for over $1 million. I remember we celebrated when we signed that deal.
Who's we?
Me and my wife. And so We celebrated when we signed that deal. My first deal was for like $400,000 for 2 years. My next deal was $350 a year.
Were you making that much in stand-up?
No,
right.
I was making $100,000 in stand-up, but I had to work almost every fucking week. I was making roughly $3,000 a week, and I was making $100,000.
You were making $3,000 a weekend at the time
in stand-up. Yeah.
So in your mind, I'm a stand-up comedian, but my income is from Travel Channel.
I'm a stand-up comedian who does Travel Channel 2 weeks, stand-up 1 week, and I'm home 1 week, or sometimes I did stand-up 2 weeks.
Okay. Then podcast comes around. Well, you've been doing it, but now podcast is starting to make money.
So I'm going to give you exact numbers because and by the way, I say exact, but these are real broad strokes because I don't remember exactly. I remember the first television show I ever got, I made $5,000 a week, and I miscalculated and I said I'm a millionaire. Mm-hmm. And so, but I remember having $5,000 a week and going, that is good money. That was for me. That was like, that's the benchmark. And then when I got on Travel Channel, I want to say it was like either 7 or 12, whatever it was. Maybe it was 12 when I signed that last deal. $12,000 an episode.
How many episodes?
13.
Gotcha.
And then based on that deal, I had to do other stuff for them, and I get paid for other stuff. But once I worked all that money out, then anything I did above and beyond that, I got time and a half for. It was overtime.
Right.
So I got extra money. So my real goal was to try to do all the work to earn that $350, because then everything I made after that was double almost. And so that's where I made my money. They'd reorder a season and it'd be within that year.
I get it. I'm interrupting.
Yeah,
I get it.
No.
It's Travel Channel, that kind of money.
Yeah.
Podcast, inconsequential, but you're developing your craft.
Podcast, no money for the first, say, 5 years, 6 years.
And then stand-up is inconsequential money.
Yeah, right.
And then podcast, now 2015, you're like, holy shit, I'm making money. What does that look like, 100,000?
So the first round of podcasts I did,
There's probably no ads the first round.
Oh, no. My first time I got rounds. So just so that you have all the information, I get fired from Travel Channel. My last year of Travel Channel, I learned how to vlog, which was like super important because I learned how to shoot. I learned how to edit.
Right.
I learned how to add music. I learned how to duck music. I learned everything about that.
What's duck music?
Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum. A duck walked up to a lemonade stand.
Like to drop the sound of the music and then
have it score.
Yeah, and then loop it so that I could loop it to get to the port where I needed the music to hit.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to do all of that. And I was posting my podcast so I could work inside GarageBand. I knew how to work with
Were you doing video at the time?
I was doing I was not. I was not doing video. I didn't start doing video aggressively until Halston showed up. But I get fired from Travel Channel. I get pulled off the Funny or Die tour. Everything goes away for me.
Do you think there was a reason?
Yeah, because they didn't care.
Has your machines come out yet?
Nope.
Okay.
This is over 6.5 years ago.
Okay.
Rogan and Burr pull me aside. They say your Travel Channel show sucks.
Is Rogan yet?
He is, but not. He's not $350 million Spotify deal, Rogan. But he's big. He's big.
Okay.
And he's getting big. He's not where he is, but he's getting there. And they pull me aside.
And Burr's a king.
And Burr's, yeah. And so they pull me aside and they tell me that my Travel Channel show sucks. I should focus on podcasting. Bill Burr says, "What's your nut?" to me. And I said,
for people that don't know that term, it means how much do you need to make a year to break even.
And my nut, I think, was $500,000
with a family.
With everything, insurance and cars and everything. I think it was $500,000. It's probably. Maybe that might have been my gross. I don't remember, but it might would have. I don't know. I said $500,000, and I remember them scratching their heads, going, "We could get you that on podcasting." And I was like,
"How? What do they do to help you?"
Exactly. I'm like, "What the fuck?" So they're like, "You need to build your podcast first. You need to get your numbers up to 50,000 a week. You need to get 50,000 a week, because then once you get 50,000, you can start making money."
Ads, yeah.
So I call Tom, and Tom says,
"Does he have a pod yet?"
Yeah, and Tom's getting money. And
for his pod?
For his podcast.
Your mom's house, was it?
And he's making good money on his podcast.
Was it your mom's house?
It's your mom's house. And so Tom says to me, "Let's get your numbers to 50,000 across the board. They're always at 50,000.
How does he help you do that?
By getting me guests. By, hey, you know who you need to get on who's really good? This guy. Do you know who you should have on? This guy. Burr would come on. Tom would come on."
By the way, hardest part of podcasting, not the most work, but I've said this, it's the hardest part of podcasting is guests consistently.
Oh. Yeah. It's especially when you do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. That's where the team comes in great.
I'm at the point. This is why I want to talk to you. And if we don't have enough time, I'm gonna call you again, just on the phone. Even I'm at a point where I want that very, very much. I think that it would only help me make more money and make it easier for me.
Yes. So Tom gets me. So I get to 50,000. I start really focusing on my podcast because I don't have any work.
And the reason you got to 50,000 was specifically, we brought guests to your show, so more people are introduced to your show. They stay for you. All right, step one, you're at the near baseline of what monetization is.
I'm at the baseline.
Right.
I think ads, the money was like maybe $1,500 a read.
Right.
I'm guessing.
And you're probably doing between 1 to 3 a week.
5 reads my first show.
Good for you.
5 reads. My first show that
How
I
did
got
that
sponsored.
feel?
Well, I
to make
did
$7,000 out of when we were making nothing.
Well, I remember my litmus was 5,000. So all this and
that was for a TV show. This is at home.
And at 5,000 for a TV show, you give 10% to managers, 10% to agents, lawyers,
5% to lawyer.
Everything goes away, and taxes.
And you have to be away from home.
My ad sales cut is better than that. I don't have to give anyone anything. No one gets anything, and I'm getting $7,000. I'm getting it. No one touches it. All of a sudden, I'm like, this is the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fucking game. I walked away from everything. I was like, no more television.
You walked away? You were
like,
you weren't trying for it anymore.
I was like, no more auditions, no more television,
Right.
stand up, podcast. That's it. Those are the 2 towers that you need to be swinging back and forth. And all of a sudden, I'm like, that's Rogan, that's Burr, that's Tommy, that's Joey, that's fucking every great stand-up at the moment has a great podcast and a great tour. And so I was like, that's my thing. I'm a little cheap. And so I liked the idea that I'm looking at your investment. I know what that costs, and I know what these cost. I know what these cost.
I know what everything costs.
And I know, but I love knowing that. I like being in control.
Numbers, love money.
I love it.
Numbers.
And then I know that every time, the day I paid that off, everything from there on is a profit. Everything is a profit, and I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
As a dad who just wanted to make sure I could put a roof over everyone's head, I was obsessed with keeping the numbers down here.
Also, it's an interesting thing. It's not specific to podcasting, but podcasting is one of those things where it's like you don't know what the ceiling is. It's not like, all right, I'm making this much a year. It could be. I mean, you could make millions of dollars doing pay-per-view shit. From one. I mean, it's so then this creative thing comes into where there's creative and there's business, right? And they're not mutually exclusive, but they're usually, this is the business guy, this is the creative guy. The Venn diagram has so much in the middle because the more creative you are, once you have an audience to see it, the more business you get. Yeah. That's why it's ridiculous. People calling you out for the things that you make, for your promotional things, which now obviously they don't because it
doesn't happen now.
It's proof.
I watched it happen a lot. It doesn't happen now.
But like that helps. That is the business.
Yeah.
Is the execution of the creative part.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, and I always looked at things as like micro. And so I remember I did the dancing video where I learned the dance to the Post Malone thing. And then I posted I learned a hip hop dance. I did
Shout out to Post Malone, by the way. I want to get him on my pod at some point. Not asking you. I have my ins. But he's a big Magic the Gathering player.
Oh, for real?
Big.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Met him once at a Magic event.
Really?
Like big. Like, yeah, he picked up a beta starter. I went to this thing. He picked up an alpha starter for $125,000. It was $795 in 1993. I almost bought one. When I got season 3 of Undateable. Every season of television show, I bought a collectible. And I almost bought one, and I offered the guy, he wanted $9,000, and I offered him $8,000, and I wouldn't go to $9,000. And I'm telling you now, I'm not just saying what it's worth. I'm saying what I could get. It's worth more. But if I needed to liquidate it today, easily get an $85K today. This was 5 years ago.
That's crazy that you get collectibles, and some people there is a thing that's in Scientology about celebrating, buying yourself something to celebrate.
Why is that Scientology?
Scientology.
Or just in it, but it's not exclusive to it.
It's not exclusive to it. But my wife went to an acting class that was all Scientology.
Is Borat?
What? My wife went to an acting class that was all Scientology. And one of the things they told her, once you have an achievement, you need to stamp that achievement with a present to yourself.
I like that.
I do too. I like a lot about Scientology, sadly. There's a lot I like about it.
All I want to give a plug while we're talking about collectibles here, because I talked about magic with you a bit when I was on your pod the second time. I have some merch that is the coolest merch of any comedian that you've ever seen.
Really?
And I want to reveal. I have new ones that I want to reveal on here, but I want to show you these. I have. I make. Shout out to Scott Hepburn, by the way. He's a Marvel illustrator. I make trading cards. Limited edition collectible trading cards of previous guests inspired by different superheroes. I want you to see these.
Rick and Goblin.
Yep, as Wolverine and Hulk. Which one of the first collectible I bought was Hulk 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine. Goblin is our mascot, so he's going to be in every card.
Okay. Blake Griffin.
Colossus.
Oh, yeah. Mark Maron. That's
Iron
a good
Man.
one, yeah. Eric Griffin.
Mr. Potato Head. And then I don't know if you know these guys, but they're the Vegas dads. They're my dad, Uncle Bob, Teddy, and Mark. They're Dragon Ball Z characters.
This is really cool.
And I have two. I want to reveal the two new cards that are going to be available now, or they're already available, but I want to show them to you.
Oh, you're. I'll say, okay.
Santino as Sabretooth.
Oh, that's badass.
Isn't that cool?
That's badass.
And Bobby Lee as Toad from X-Men.
Aren't
those cool?
These are really fucking
Aren't
cool.
they cool?
See, that's
because I collect these. I want those.
If you had a team, get the fuck out. Watch out.
I need a team, and I need to talk to you about it at a different time.
Because you are a person. Your podcast is obviously very original. It's very different than everyone else, and it's a thumbprint of you. But you're doing it all yourself.
Well, no, I have to. I'm kinda. I mean, I do have now JonMichael who edits, who's a fucking brilliant genius. Yeah. I have Tom Bates who does animation. Check out his YouTube channel. Put it up here. And I have other people that every now and then that like local hire type things.
Like that.
But I'm making like Scott I pay to illustrate, and Ian does the coloring. TJ does the framing. I mean, I have people that I pay to do certain things, but I'm still like doing everything.
So now I get to take an idea.
Yeah,
that I like, and say that this is what I'd like to do. Can we make this happen? And sometimes they'll go, I'm not certain that's a great idea, and I go, yeah, but that's what I want because that's what I like.
Yeah.
Like I have a line of flip flops. No one would. I mean, there's no reason that a comedian.
Could you shower in them?
No. I mean, they're good looking flip flops.
Right.
I would have worn them if it wasn't raining. I wear them every day.
Well,
they're my favorite.
I would have had you take them off anyway.
Yeah, but they're amazing flip flops. And
I think I've seen this.
Yeah, I found them. I bought them, and had them for like 10 years ago, and then they discontinued. They stopped making them, and I bullied the company into making them again. And the company's like, listen, man, we don't.
So you bought them,
and I said, can you just make them for me, and then I'll sell them to my fans?
I have these sweatpants that I get comments on all the time. They're the best sweatpants in the world.
Yeah,
you can't get them anymore. I had a whatever they're called.
Seamstress.
Yes, do the. I paid them to do the thing. So I have that, and I've been sitting on them.
This is why you need a team, because
I already have them built.
All you need is someone young who's excited and energetic and wants to get into stuff and be fun and be creative.
How do you find them? Because there are people that submit to me all the time, but to go through,
and how do you know? This is going to sound really, and I'm so glad he didn't come. My assistant was going to come with me, but it's a lot like falling in love. My assistant worked for me on the Go Big show. His name's Peter Giuliano. He's a great guy. He's a nuclear engineer. He used to build nuclear submarines for the military. And then he just one day was like, this is not what I want my life to be. I want to have fun. I want to go out and travel. I'm not sitting in a cubicle.
That seems hard to find, but go on.
And so he was working for me. And one day he didn't know me that well, but we were working past dinner. Dinner was closed. All the restaurants around were closing out. And I got off and he goes, I got you dinner. And I said, in my head, I go, typical, what did you get me to eat? And he goes, well, I just guessed that you'd want a couple things. So I got 4 different meals. I've got shrimp skewers. I've got a cheeseburger.
Of course you fell in love with them.
And I was like, this is my guy. And so when all of a sudden we come back and we're talking about I need an assistant. I said, there's this one guy that he lives in Atlanta, but
Did he move here?
And so I moved him here, and
yeah, you're at a different income level though.
But I was, because I was doing theaters and it definitely would have been more expensive. But when you find those people,
I know.
So this is my other thing. You ready?
Hold on. Go ahead.
When you find someone who you're working with on any capacity that's killing it, steal them.
I hear you. But it depends on what their capacity is. If they're working on a TV show that has a finite amount of time, maybe. But if they're working for somebody else, it feels like a relationship thing to me. I'm very weird with that stuff. I don't like that. I wouldn't want someone to do it to me. I wouldn't want to do it to somebody else.
I believe that when you find people that are passionate and intelligent,
steal them from where? What do you mean?
Like, just go, hey,
steal them from a job that they don't want to be at, and or a job that they don't have, or like steal an assistant from somebody else.
No. I would never steal someone's assistant. I would never look at like Jamie from Joe Rogan and go, hey, how do I get him?
That's what I'm talking about.
No,
So
I would
what do
never
you
do that.
mean?
I would never do that. So say you go to a radio station, right? And the girl that comes down to grab you to get you up to the elevator every day is just there. Hey, Rick, it's so good to see you. Tell me about ... How's that?
Yeah.
And then one day casually say, you're really phenomenal. You're fantastic. And if I'm just putting
thumbnail, I'm phenomenal.
I'm just putting this out there, but if I would love the opportunity to work with you in some capacity.
Yeah. I hear that.
And so I've done that. I've done that a number of times. If I find someone that is just murdering it, I did it to my cousin Andrew's a genius. He's a brilliant dude, brilliant dude who knows so much about movies and has such a great creative brain. And he was my assistant, but he was wasting his time. He was wasting his time because he was so much better than that. And I said to Kale, my producer at Legendary, you need to steal Andrew from me.
I want to go.
Go ahead.
So, team, you have a team, and what is your focus? Oh, you know what we didn't get to yet? I want to know here. So you start making money in 2015, 2016 from podcasting, $7,000. I'm asking a business question here. All right, stand up is probably going to start making more money now because you're building your podcast audience.
And the Machine Story went viral.
Right. Machine Story goes viral when? 2016?
6 years ago.
That goes viral, which expedites everything.
Yeah.
So that now you're making...
And Rogan now is becoming who he is. At this moment, we did the I mean, I'm saying, obviously he was always Joe Rogan, but at this moment we did weigh-ins, and man, I noticed this bump.
Weigh-ins.
Me and Tom were fat shaming each other, and we did weigh-ins on Rogan's and tried to see who could lose the most weight. And all of a sudden there's this thing that we start noticing, we call it the Rogan bump, where if you do Rogan, all of a sudden next 6 months all your shows are sold out immediately.
Does that still exist?
Yeah. I'm leaving Sunday to go do his podcast to promote my special. The Rogan bump is probably more so. I think he's bigger than he's ever been in his entire life.
Question for you.
Shoot.
You ask people for stuff sometimes. Instead of promoting your special, could you promote my podcast?
On Rogan?
As a bit.
Yeah.
Like if he's like, what's the name of your special? And just it's called the Take Your Shoes Off podcast.
I can find a way to slide you in.
No, I'm not asking you to slide me in. I'm saying the entire thing. Ask him to title the episode, not slide me in.
Okay.
I'm saying make it the whole thing because I have an idea that I want to pitch you on.
Okay.
So you go on Rogan. Also slide me in. Absolutely. You go on Rogan and you get the Rogan bump. This is the first time you're on Rogan, or you've been doing Rogan?
I've done Rogan maybe 20 times.
No. I don't mean now.
No, from then.
Right.
I've done Rogan a ridiculous amount of times.
So you're always getting a little Rogan bump.
Well, you're noticing it. The first time I ever did it, I got 6,000 Twitter followers that evening.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy. The next time I put my shirt on there, and I sold $25,000 worth of
shirt on there.
The machine shirt that I sold. I gave one to Joe. I said, they're going to be on my website. And by the time I got home, my wife said, we just sold $25,000 worth of t-shirts.
Oh, $25,000 worth.
And then by the end of the year, we had sold 6 figures worth of t-shirts.
And you attribute that to being in front of his audience.
To Joe Rogan sharing his audience with me.
Wow.
Joe Rogan sharing his audience with you is one of the kindest things you can do in comedy, and it taught all of us how to share our audiences because no one wanted to share audiences before that. They were like, these are my fans, you can fuck yourself.
You know, I've noticed that this isn't everybody, and there's kind of some people do gatekeep. But there are some podcasters that I've noticed, and I think also my podcast is now doing a little bit better, so it's easier for people to want to include me in a superficial way.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that comedians that have podcasts are more interested in shit. Arbitrary example, if you have something to promote and you could talk to somebody, I mean, not you, but somebody who's not at your level even.
Yeah.
Me, somebody who's less of an audience than I do. They have a special or something to promote. Podcasters are the ones that are like, come on my podcast.
Yeah. Because it's wash my back, I'll wash yours. It's like, listen, my fans love you, but I know that there are a lot of your fans that probably don't listen to my podcast, and now they're going to go, I'll check out his special. And so, yeah. And by the way, it's like, you can never tell who's going to be successful. Like I there was a guy I liked, and I had him on my podcast a long time ago before he had any notoriety. He was an interesting dude.
You don't want to say who it is?
No, I'll say. But it was definitely, I mean, I don't think anyone at the time figured his brand would be where it is today. He was a gay guy who wore polo shirts, who was a little overweight and looked like a Republican.
Nathan Lane?
It was Nathan Lane.
Look at him now. This was before Lion King?
Yeah. And so it was Tim Dillon. And so I had him on, and he was fun. I just knew he was fun. I knew he was funny.
He's so funny.
Tim, can I tell you, on Wednesday, I'm doing my first Rick Glassman at Friends at the Brea Improv if you want to come host it. And you could do 15 up top, not 5.
I would like to do that. I'd love to go down there and eat deep fried tacos in Brea. But I'll be here with Joe Rogan plotting to overthrow the government.
He's the funniest guy in the world. And now, and I'll be very honest. Now, it's a privilege to get Tim on your podcast because your numbers are through the fucking roof because he's so good at it. But it's like when he was young. So I think it's that wash my back, I'll wash yours thing.
So you think there's a bit of, and I use this term literally, not without judgment. You think there's a selfishness to it?
Yeah. I mean,
looking out for yourself.
No, not looking out for yourself. I think it's you help each other. Everyone helps each other, you know? Like if Legion of Skanks has something to promote and I go, yeah, come on out. I'll fly you out.
We got Big J on next week. He's coming out.
Yeah. And then it's nice that you go to New York and then Big J's like, hey man, you want to come on Legion of Skanks? And you go, yeah, that would be cool. I mean, it wasn't like that before.
I've made some pretty good friends because of this.
Yeah.
People that I don't know if I would have met, but if so, you're not having 2-hour long form conversations with. Dude, I'm so grateful for podcasting.
I hung out with Caroline Ray, a hero of mine. I love Caroline Ray.
Really?
Yesterday for an hour and a half. And I got the opportunity to hang out with David Cross the day before that. And fucking Patty Pimblett and the Liver King. Just interesting people come over to my house and I get to hang out with them. And you, I mean, we were neighbors during the pandemic.
I didn't even know, we didn't know each other. Yeah.
Yeah. But
by the way, and it was very flattering when you asked me on your podcast the first time, because after you saw something I made and then had me on, and I remember being like, because my podcast was pretty new, and thinking like, nobody at your level asked me to do their thing.
Oh, I loved your creative vision. The way you make things is really interesting, and it's really funny. It's so hard to make things funny, make things be funny. I mean, it's easy for us to talk on a podcast and make each other giggle, singing the national anthem and stuff like that, and people like it, and it's fun. Todd Glass is brilliant at that. I mean, really brilliant.
Also, you said Tim Dillon's the funniest person in the world. He's very funny. I don't want to place numbers on things. Todd Glass is up there with one of the funniest people in the world.
Todd Glass, the joke is never over. That's what I love about him. Do you get texts from Todd ever?
Sometimes he'll send me voice notes.
These are my favorite texts I ever get.
While you're pulling them out, let me pee.
Okay, go.
We could bars and tone this.
Let me you.
You got some Todd Glass texts?
No, I have a new phone, so I don't have any good ones.
You get new phones a lot, huh?
Yeah,
and new phone numbers too.
Yeah, yeah.
Why? People get hold of it?
Yeah, a couple people started hating me, and then they passed my number out to everyone and put it online. Really? Yeah.
But I don't even want to breathe more into that.
Yeah, exactly. The Todd Glass is one of the funniest human beings.
Are you friends with Harlan Williams?
Yeah, Harlan Williams.
I get a lot of texts, random texts from him.
Yeah.
I'm at Ralph's. What do you want me to get you? Shit like that.
Yeah. Hey, no offense. I hope you fucking die. And if you do die and I find the body, I'll fuck you in the ass. Oops, my bad. Meant to send that to my mom.
Yeah, he's so funny.
That's from Todd Glass.
Oh, that was
Todd?
Todd?
Yeah, that was Todd. But those guys, I mean, they're just, and I mean, I don't know. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I'm good. I know where to go to this. We're talking money.
Yeah.
We're talking the machine, the Rogan bump, and now you went from what's happening to what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think about making more money? And more specifically, and tell me if I'm wrong, how do you think about getting a bigger audience? Are those two things synonymous?
No, I don't. Let me rephrase this. I do care about making money. I work very hard because I like making money.
Right.
But I like doing stand up also, so they're congruent. Anyway, I think you have to build fan bases at a good pace. I think if you get too big too fast, then the people that loved you start hating you
because they feel like they're not special anymore.
Well, if you get too many people too fast, I think you're doing something maybe wrong.
Oh, then I'm doing it right.
Well, I think I'm doing it right. Like it's a nice build,
Yeah.
and you just want to keep adding. I remember saying if I can add 10% to my shows, that would be perfect.
What, yearly?
Just yearly. Next year I come back and I do 10% better.
What's the difference between stadiums and theaters for you? A difference meaning, when do you choose to do a theater versus a bigger, like when do you choose to do 2,000 versus 10,000?
So I mean, in my opinion, it's based on 2 shows a night. So I look at 2 shows a night is definitely work because you're doing 2 theater shows.
Do you
a
like
night.
doing 2 shows a night?
No, I like doing 1 show a night.
I'm nowhere near your level, and I don't ever want to do 2 shows a night. I hate it.
I like to put all my energy into one show.
I did it already.
Yeah.
I feel the same exact way. Is that what you do now?
So I do. So that's how I make the decision. If I can sell, I mean, this is really in the weeds, but if I know I can sell like 5,000 seats in a market, then if you go to an arena, that's bottom bowl. So that's like the bottom bowl. So if you can sell 5,000, you can probably sell fucking 7. And if you're selling 7, now we're at the first tier.
Would you ever do an arena if you could only sell 5?
No.
What's the minimum for an arena?
7.
And if you could only sell 5, then like fuck it, I'll do.
And by the way, there's people going. That's not that you're out of your mind. They're like Joe Coy would never do an arena for 7,000.
He would need to do what, 20?
Joe Coy does like 25,000 seats a night, and so.
But why is it worth doing an arena then?
Well, I'm just saying the threshold is so like sometimes you'll go to a city that doesn't have a big theater. Like you can get a good deal too. Like I did the Mullet Arena. I think it was like 5,600. That's all it sat, but it's a hockey arena. So there's also arenas.
And do you rent out the arena?
Yeah, you get it for the night. And so, but arenas are different because there's like the Emily Arena where the Lightning play, and then there's the Mullet Arena where the minor league team plays. So that's a smaller arena, but it's just a big theater. But your price point's still the same. You got to bring in your stage. You got to bring in your lights. You got to bring in your audio. You got to set up merch.
And is that all? You have your own production team, or do you hire a team for that?
I have my own production team. I have a team of 12 dudes who travel with me that set up.
And they
everything.
are employees of Bert Kreischer
Enterprises. Yeah, we're Birdie Boy Productions.
And do you own all that equipment now?
No, I just rent it.
At what point do you own it?
Every time. I'll tell you the one thing I'd say. The one mistake I made, I should have bought a bus immediately, and I should have bought my equipment immediately.
Did you buy your bus that you have now?
I just bought a new one. I just bought one. So they're building it.
Wow.
But I have spent the price of probably 3 buses renting.
At what point do you use the equipment that you own or soon to own to also do other people's tours? Or do you never do that?
I would do that. I would definitely do that. Like, meaning, like, it would be really cool if Tom and I could get our touring lined up where on my off week he was on and we did our routing together.
Or like a touring network where you go to Bert. If once somebody starts doing their things, if they want to rent, you just go from you.
I would like that. I would love to do that with my tour bus, but to like friends that I know aren't going to trash.
You're not
shit.
always using it.
I won't always be using it, but I have no interest in renting it out. But if like a friend was like, hey man, I've always wanted to do a tour bus tour, and I just give them whatever I'm paying. I don't need to make money off of it. Just pay my nut on it for the month, or for the week. I don't even need to make. But yeah, I would like to. We do that with Fully Loaded. We do. It's what's fun for me now is because comedy's never been this big. And so like I took Greg Fitzsimmons to do the Amalie and Safeway or whatever Amway, the arenas in Florida. And it was fun to watch Greg do arena because I've done a bunch of arenas, to watch him. Or Chris Porter did the Garden with me, and to watch them hum after me. Like that was Chris Porter destroyed in Boston, and he got off and he was like, damn. And when you do that with your friends, it's a fun fucking feeling.
I just did Ryan Sickler's podcast. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this does, but one of the things that I was talking to him about was what got me into playing basketball, which changed my life. Gave me friends for the first time, is the same exact thing that got me into comedy, which was when you show up, who we playing with today? It's collaboration. It's doing stuff. When you go and you're waiting to see if you get on the potluck at the Comedy Store, and whether you get up or not for that 3 minutes, you're with your friends.
That's funny. That's it.
And that's, it is what it is. I'm not driven, and I think that it's not the best quality for success, but I'm not driven in stand-up from that feeling that I hear a lot of people say, there's nothing like being on stage and getting that high. I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm driven by like, who do I get to perform with and what bits do we get to do backstage? I love doing stand-up, but that's why I still do this every week.
I had a saying I used to say all the time. How lucky am I that my friends are the actual funniest humans on the planet?
I say that all the time too. I have the funniest friends in the world.
Like everyone goes, my group of friends are the funniest. I go, oh, nope, mine are.
Yeah.
Mine are. I get friends with all different sense of humors and all different ball bustings.
All we do is laugh, man.
All we do. I have laughed so, I've laughed so hard. And the only thing I love more than that is when your friends goes,
my family.
Have you seen this? And you go, what? And I go, have you seen this clip of this thing? This made me laugh really hard. And then they show it to you and you guys laugh together.
I've watched it 10 times. It's never not funny.
I love laughing, and I'm very, very fucking lucky. I fucking love it. I think there's a way to do. I think your brain is underutilized, in my opinion, because the way you're talking about is the way comedy managers should have looked at how to fucking run this business.
I don't know what you're getting at.
When you go, how great would it be if you could rent out your stage or rent out your tour bus or rent out your tour? And then I go, yeah, why the fuck didn't someone think of that already? Why didn't a management company buy a tour bus? They have all this fucking money. Buy a tour bus, buy a stage, have all that shit ready to go, ready to plug and play, so that they can go, yeah, and by the way, not make money on it. Pay it off and then have it for free.
Right.
You know, that's the way this business is so fucked up. I said to someone there the other day, they were talking about underpaying, cutting their agent's percentage in half. And I said, can I tell you my theory? I said, I wouldn't do that, because the thing I've learned in this business is the best way to make money for yourself is to make other people money. If you can make other people money, you'll make money forever.
I agree 100%. Like when you were talking about find somebody that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
I love my little ragtag team I have right now. JonMichael and Tom, I want to make, and I tell them this sometimes, but really only sometimes, I want to get to a point where I could be paying them to where this isn't just a cool job, but like this is a career for them.
Yeah.
I want that for me too. Like it's hard finding good help. I believe that. Give people money so they're invested. Give them a percentage so they're invested. But it's a fine line between that and being taken advantage of. And I don't want to get too in the weeds on this.
No, I can definitely get in the weeds.
I don't want to.
Okay.
The way this business, and I'm not talking comedy in particular, I'm talking about entertainment. I'm sure it goes past that, but I'm just going to talk about entertainment, is run, it's thievery. But like it's the mob. I mean, it's hey, we'll let you do this, but then they're taxing you.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody gets you a job, give them the 10%. In fact, we're talking about ads. Give them the 20%.
Take it. Some people charge 50%.
If you're making me money and I couldn't do it without you, take it.
Yeah, take it. It's awesome.
I am happy to give it to you. But when you don't, and then you're taxing me on all the stuff that I'm doing on my own, not to mention asking for help and not getting it, it makes me fucking mental.
I remember I remember I had a manager who was taking 10%. He was taking 15%, and he was taking 15% of my feature work.
Like when you're going and doing 20 minutes for $100
for $700, I would then have to pay him like $100. And I remember being like, felt weird about it. And I was like, okay, so I'll just write you a check for.
But you know,
does it matter to you?
But if this was a stand-up agent who got you that feature work,
he didn't get me the feature
work.
work.
But I'm saying, if it was, of course, take the money.
My agent, if it's my agent, he wasn't my agent, he was my manager. And I was just like, my agent's getting me the work. I don't understand. Like, I'm going to fucking Laughs Unlimited for $500, and you really want that 15% is a big chunk of $500 when you get $500, and you got to pay for gas to get up there, and you're eating up there. I mean, then all of a sudden you're not. But look, you're right. I don't. No one touches my podcast but me, and I would be livid if someone on my team suggested they should get a part of my podcast, because I asked for help originally and no one gave it to me.
I have a little bit of not resentment, but I feel that like I wanted help. I asked for help. I asked for help, by the way, with very simple things. Very, very, very simple things that I didn't not only get the help on, maybe they didn't even get back to me. And it's like, you know what? There's nothing in it for you. And that didn't even bother me then.
Yeah.
But don't come back to me now.
Oh, I'm in a good situation with, especially with my manager and my agents. My agents brought me in initially to there. I think they were going to do some sort of podcast network through the agency. And I was like, I've been doing this really long. I'm pretty dialed in on how this works. And I was like, I'll take the meeting, and if you guys can present me with some stuff I don't know, then I'll join. But if I know more than you guys, then obviously I'm not going to walk backwards. And I went in, and I very quickly, the guy was like, wow, you've been doing this for a while. He was like, and then he's a very cool dude, and we talked, and I was like, yeah, I'm obviously not going to come over here. I know more than you guys do, and I'm just going to keep doing it on my own.
Right.
I remember a guy coming in, and he was running a huge podcasting company, and he was like, let me tell you what I can do for you. Okay? You're in Boise, Idaho, and you need a podcast. Well, guess what? I got a studio in Boise, Idaho that you can use. And we'll just take that off the top of the ad sales.
Or I'll just rent it for $300.
And I said, I'll bring my H4 and 2 mics, and I'll do a podcast.
Bring it up to an H6, by the way, ISO tracks.
That was back in the H4 was the H4N was shit. That was the old one.
Yeah,
where you get a little splitter at the bottom for it. The H6 is badass. That was my game. I have 5 of those. Because I felt it at a certain point in my podcast where I was so comfortable spending money and getting a new H6 and just being like, you know what, Dan Cummings is in town and we're here in Salt Lake City for one night.
A new one.
Yeah, let's just buy a new one.
You know,
I remember Dan Cummings going, you just bought a new one? Because Dan hadn't funded his podcast yet. He's got a great fucking podcast. And he was like,
타임서크 위드된 커민스.
Google him.
So
you on Rogan. Rick Glassman has I don't know. And Rogan's like, please tell me what it is. You're like, hey,
I love Rick. Tell me more about him.
He did the 6th lead. I don't know.
Dan and I sat in the park and I unwrapped a new H6 with 2 new microphones and 2 new cords. And he goes, what, you just buy all that? And I said, yeah, I didn't have my equipment with me. And he goes, so you just bought that to do the podcast? And I remember being like, oh yeah, I make good money on my podcast. And I don't think he had figured out money yet at the time, but he does have a great podcast. I feel really bad.
We'll put a thumbnail up. We'll figure it out.
It's a really great podcast.
I travel. I take my podcast on the road. I call it the Sleepover Series.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome podcast, and we do a little different stuff with it. But I've been doing it enough to where I'm starting to now get extra equipment, so I don't have to break everything down. And certain places I revisit, I keep the lights there.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's not that crazy. It's $300 in lights. But like to make the decision, I might only use this a few times, but to do it and keep it there.
Yeah.
It does feel like I also love having extra equipment. It doesn't happen much. Doesn't happen much. But when it does, I prefer Dos Equis. There's issues with something, a little crackle. I got so many extra wires. See right there?
Yeah.
In case I have another person, I keep it set up. We got the mic set up right there. I got a couple of H6s.
I'd love to have you.
I'd
love to have you. We just bought a new house to set up my new podcast or my podcast. So we bought a house
just for
podcasting.
Are you still around? We don't want to say where it is.
Same house, same area.
Wow.
Down the street, a couple houses. We just bought.
So you could walk to it.
I got to ride an electric bike.
Dude, like
great
you're in the
sponsor,
stadium.
great sponsor. Pedal Electric. The
Shout
great
out to Pedal
sponsors.
Electric.
They're
Go to
badass.
pedalelectric.com/TYSO for 15% off your first ride.
So I built a room and I love having everything plug and play, everything set up. And then the other day I walked in and I said, does anyone have a charger? And they go, chargers. And Jen, who runs my production, opened a drawer and there were
all the different wires,
20 chargers, brand new that hadn't even been unwrapped. And I went, oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, man.
That feels
having that kind of help like that, it's inspiring. It's so inspiring.
My team now is I've break them down. I've got 2 editors. That was a game changer. Having editors is a game changer.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to JonMichael. It's not just in podcasting, obviously, in everything. Editors are writers, are directors, are everything.
Yeah.
And to not credit that and to find somebody who knows what they're doing. Here's a very simple thing I want to say about JonMichael, but also like when you were talking about when you find someone you fall in love with, I thought of this. It's a very simple thing. He's much more impressive than what I'm about to say. But I'm working with him and there were some things, because I give a lot of notes after and to the camera, etc. He didn't ask me many questions about stuff. It used to be I was going over it and we would talk about stuff. He does something that seems so simple, but people don't know to do. He just Googles it. I don't know if you know what I mean. I mean that literally and as a metaphor. Like, he'll find that podcast you were talking about. He's not going to message me, what's that podcast called? He'll know.
Yeah.
He figures stuff out. Anyway, I just want to, JonMichael, you're amazing. But to have people that could not just edit, but are just capable of like, not adding more work onto you.
Yeah. Well, there was a point where I was going like, it's less work for me to just edit it myself.
That's how it was for a long time.
And I was like,
that's so time consuming.
It's time consuming, but I got it done, and I knew it was done the way I wanted. And I had to show people what I liked. But now I have 2 editors. One has edited all 3 of my last specials, maybe 4 of them. Dave Harris, badass. Dave Harris.
Shout out to Dave Harris.
And I know a Dave Harris too. So Dave Harrison, and then this guy Kieran, who has been doing a lot of my promos lately, and just is really like, we've just started working together, but really is getting my voice. And
that's the thing. You have to find people that watch and get. When I do a special or anything I do, I want to bring JonMichael with me,
dude.
Once they know you,
what the fucking worst was. When I was doing Travel Channel, I had a producer and I said something and they were like, dude, you're doing it wrong. And I was like, huh? I was like, they're doing it wrong. No. I have like a bit, like bit. What do you mean? And I said, yeah, I'm a comedian. And they go, I didn't know that. And I said, you didn't know I was a comedian? And you're producing my television show? Mm-hmm. And they're like, I don't know who you are. And I was like, oh, the onus is on you. Mm-hmm. This is your job. Your job is to know your talent.
It's literally
It's not me to go through and know your IMDb and know what works best with you. Your job is literally to know who I am and what I do, and then help me do the best of me. I go, and then I said, have you ever watched any of the shows that are something? And they go, I don't watch television. I go, you're a producer and you don't watch television?
That seems to be an anomaly. That's ridiculous.
I go, some people in New York don't watch television. And I got that person fired. I got that person fired immediately.
But they produce television?
They produce television and don't watch fucking television. And I was like, hey man, wouldn't it be cool if the person who made television was obsessed with television and then wanted to make the coolest thing on television, as opposed to just get a paycheck and I get to tell people I'm a television producer? It's like, you don't meet that in, like, when it gets higher up, there's no screenwriters that don't watch movies.
My advice, and I've said this to some friends, to people in anything, but specifically with podcasting, but when you're a creative, is when you're looking for people like to do a job, unless they have unbelievable credentials and you could train them and show them your stuff, you have to find people that are fans of yours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Watch you. And also that watch comedy. That know what comedy is. Imagine somebody editing your comedy special who watches your podcast but doesn't watch comedy specials.
I think I'm very lucky with who I have working with me now, and I love it. I love it, and I just got an offer for someone wanted to buy my chunk, but
What
my
does
little
that mean?
whatever my podcast network, but it's just me, my wife, and I have my cooking show, my podcast. And
Someone want to buy it like a Spotify, or someone want to buy it like
kind of. It's hard to explain, but yeah. And
was it a crazy offer?
The offer was kind of just rescinded immediately because I was like, I just started really putting money into this. I just really started doing this and getting to a place where I can make anything I want. And what I want is a media company. I don't really want a podcast network. I want a media company. Like I've had people ask me.
Is that different than a production company?
It is. Well, I guess it's a production company, but I want
with
a
an
media,
outlet.
I want a media company. Like I believe in putting this out there. I want to be able to have an idea that I can take to sponsors and to my ad sales team that will immediately get me set up to do it. And then I have a team that can execute it. I want them to do all the BTS for all my movies, any of my television shows, any of my specials. We just did all BTS for my Netflix special, Razzle Dazzle, so that we can give it to Netflix and we can give it to ourselves.
What are people going to do with the BTS?
It's watch, if the people that are fans of behind the scenes, just watch.
Will it be on YouTube? Will it be on Netflix?
It's going to be on YouTube. It'll be on Netflix, and then I'll release a very long version on YouTube. And it's like, look, I'm a fan of stuff. I like being a fan of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'm a fan of yours. When I watched that one, the one, was it Third Man?
Sixth Lead.
Sixth Lead. When I watched Sixth Lead, I became a fan of yours. And then I started liking shit you made. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is really fucking fun. So like when you put something out, I get excited. I go, oh, that'll be cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be cool to watch. And it gives me something to do. If I'm getting on a plane, I can hit, like I'll make it easier for, I'm a fan of these two surfers, Koa Rothman and Nathan.
For you.
Nathan Florence. And I told them, I said, you guys should start a podcast. Because I like their vlogs. They do surfing vlogs. But I really like when they joke around with each other and they're busting balls and I got drunk with them and they're really funny dudes. So you guys should start a podcast. And then they started a podcast. And the other day I had to fly from Vancouver to LA. And so I went on YouTube and I downloaded all their podcasts so I could watch it on the plane. And then I was excited to be on the plane because I had something I enjoyed. So I like being a fan of shit.
Where does this translate to you wanting to make this stuff? Just because
it's BTS, because if you're a fan of mine, I want to give you more stuff that make you happy.
Yeah, BTS is always a good idea.
Always is.
Because if you like the thing, I mean, when I hear a song that I like, I then will want to watch all people doing covers of it. I just want to see all the extra shit.
Wagon Wheel. I just wrote this song. What do you tell me what you think? Okay. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. What do you think?
Fucking gay.
Wagon Wheel's a fun song to watch.
I've looked at Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of acoustics for it.
But I also want to create things. I want to make my own content that I don't want to have notes on. I just want to make it with a team of people that I trust and that I like. Sadly, I have no interest in making a podcast network, and meaning like bringing people in, getting people ad sales. I just feel like I'd rather introduce you to the people so that you could do the deal yourself and make your own money.
Well, it's not even the deal, is it? I mean, normally like it would be, it's all guests. I mean, there's enough people out there to get you ads if you have numbers. I mean, if you were to help people, it's just guest driven.
Yeah, no.
What else could you help with somebody?
Well, no, I mean, I think that's the thing is like the mechanism of a podcast network is they go for a younger podcast. They go, hey, we'll give you $100,000. We'll bring you in.
What will that $100,000 do?
They can get you ads.
I'm confused.
So say you didn't have any.
Yeah, I'm starting a podcast for the first time right now.
And you were like, and podcast networks sometimes will go, hey man, why don't you come over to our network?
Because they believe that it might become something.
Yeah. And then they go, and then they give you a deal. Give you $100,000 a year.
Okay.
And then you go, awesome, I don't have $100,000 a year.
Let's do it. Give me $100K.
And then we start building your podcast.
Right. Now, let's say it becomes something. What ownership do they have versus just taking the 20% of ad money?
Well, a lot of times they will own the IP.
Yeah, but would you ever advise that?
I would. Well, I won't start a podcast network because I don't want to. I don't have an interest in. I don't have an interest in making money off comics. It's like saying like, it's identical in my opinion. Like you going, hey, there's a great room in Sacramento that pays really well, and you go, oh, cool. Can you get the booker's number?
Right,
and me
yeah,
going,
give me 10%.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's bullshit.
Right.
Just give you the booker's number. Go get it. That's how we work. As comics, that's how we work. I got a great gig. Let me hook you up. I'll give you the booker's number.
Yeah.
And so that's, I mean, and I also don't want to have to deal with comics, you know, and have like a fucking ton of comics going, dude, where's my ad sales money? And I'm like,
talking about you and Bert doing Two Bears, and it's a huge business, and it's also you and one of, if not your best friend, doing what you would do if you weren't making any money. Where does it come to? This is work. Do you know what I'm asking?
Oh, like, when he moved to Austin,
right?
When he moved to Austin, it definitely turned into a job.
And how do you do it? Do you fly there once a month?
I fly there once a month,
and you record 4.
And we record 4, and usually, I mean, this past year it was while we were both on tour. So he would get in on Monday and run to the studio, and I would get in on Monday, run to the studio. We'd do 2. He'd see his family for 4 hours before they went to bed. We'd come back the next morning, do 2 again.
So you did it in 2 days.
Yeah, he'd see his family. I'd fly out. He'd fly out the next morning.
Wow.
And so it was work. I think it was more work for both of us than we ever thought it would be, as opposed to when we really were doing it, it was during the pandemic, and we had nothing to do, and we didn't have anyone to talk to, and it was just me and him, and it was so much fucking fun. I'm not saying that it's not still fun, because like he's coming out to LA to next week, and we're doing 2 out here, but the fact that one of us has to travel, I think sometimes, unless it really folds into it, sometimes you definitely go.
Do you ever consider not doing it?
No, I love it. I love doing this podcast with them.
I don't mean quitting. I mean, you ever like, well, we're taking a month off.
No.
Can't do that.
No. Do guest bears. Guest bears are fun. Right. We have a guest bear, and people, and I think it also introduces some of our friends into bigger audiences.
Right.
You know, and which is nice. Someone has something to promote, and we need a guest bear. It really is nice. It really is.
This is what I don't think I want to talk about on here. What I want to talk to you about, I'll walk you your car.
Okay.
And maybe we'll edit this out or I won't, but here's the concept. All right. My special, fully produced special. All right. So put that aside for 1 second. So hear me out. So hear me out. I talk about everything. Name it. I bet you I talk about it. Dude, I got 3 minutes on it's insane.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is, I'm talking about the trans community. I'm talking about how my uncle molested me. I'm talking about all these things. I want to go.
Tell you what I already love.
Yeah.
When you go.
This can't be in.
Well, here's the promotion part, in my opinion. You know, Chris Rock just.
I want to get on Rogan. I want to get on your mom's house.
I love that idea.
Because there's been a lot of ideas and us laughing and getting excited, I do want to turn this 10-minute conversation into a 1-minute montage.
I think you have such an original brain. You have such an original brain. I kept saying, I think that would be. I mean, I love any idea anyone gets passionate about. I get passionate about. Passion begets passion, and I love when you talk like that. I go, it'll be fun. Put the fun back in stand-up. There's so many specials out, and I'm promoting one as well. Everyone's doing specials.
Check out Razzle Dazzle on Netflix.
Yeah,
May 14th.
March 14th.
March 14th. Oh yeah, well, this came out. It came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So, but I think that's. I mean, I really think that's the fun, is make it fun again.
What do you think about this? The reality of passion is exciting and it's driving force, but there's a lot of work to execution, and undoubtedly at a certain point, if not a lot of it, the motivation goes away, but you still have to do it. Do you connect with that?
Yeah.
So you have to like something enough and commit to it, and then do it even when you don't want to do it anymore.
And sometimes you'll have an idea, and then they'll execute it, and you'll be like,
This part could be
I'm not in love with this idea anymore. Like,
But you
I
have
don't
to
think
do
I want to do it. And then you need a good team around you to go, hold on.
Yeah.
You had a great idea.
That's what a producer does.
We got behind this idea.
Yeah.
Let's do this idea. That was the drive-in movie theater tour. I said to my agent, get me drive-ins, get me this, get me that. Everyone do it. And then when we got them all booked, they were like, yeah, I don't think, I was like, I don't think I want to do it. It seems like a lot of work, and I'm going to be gone. And there is the pandemic, and they said, if anyone can do this, it'll be you. And you are in control of your own narrative. And even if it's bad, these 4 dates we got you booked on, even if it's bad, you control the narrative. Show them that it was fun.
Yeah.
And I went, oh yeah. I was like, yeah.
It's amazing how somebody reinforcement for something that you wanted to do and don't anymore. How much I can encourage you.
Oh, and then I was like, yeah, that's right. And they're like, make content. You'll make your money back just making content. and trust me. And the other thing, they were like, just to give you a heads up, you're employing like fucking 15 people.
Right.
So 15 people are working during the pandemic that have not been working.
Right.
And then that became my motivating force. Was I ended up doing 60 cities and just in the pandemic, because I was giving so many people work. And you go places and people would say shit to you like, Bert, thanks for the job, buddy. And you're like, oh fuck, okay.
What makes you, when you pick somebody to go on the road with you, comedians? Where does that come from?
Just fun.
Is that different than booking? I guess you don't book.
No,
podcasts.
I don't book the podcast.
Right.
I have a booker for my podcast, which has been a game fucking changer.
And you get people who maybe you didn't even know about.
No.
So they always run it by you first.
They run it by me first, but then they'll say stuff like, just give me a heads up. Paul Rudd's a fan. And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, we reached out to his people, and like just the idea did
he do it yet?
No, but I mean, we're trying to line him up. I think he's busy, but like, and they go. The other day they said, would you like to have Doug Williams on your podcast? And I go, the quarterback from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Doug Williams?
I thought it was John Williams' son.
Doug Williams. And I said, I would do anything to have him on my podcast. And they're like, well, he wants to do it. I went, how did you do that? And they go, well, you mentioned him on a podcast and they heard it and then they reached out. And
should I get a booker? I don't think I'm big enough for that. It's so hard.
You know what you should do? I mean, the real move is to double down on a booker.
What does that mean?
Like, that would be the real move.
What does that mean? Like, do it myself and have a booker?
No. Like go in halvesies on a booker.
Halvesies.
Like if I said, why don't you just
with another podcaster?
Or like I said, I have a great booker. Do you want to use my booker as well and find a price point that will help make it easier for you and easier for them? And then when they get people maybe that I'm not interested in, they can also run them by you, and you go, whoa.
What about people that you are interested in? Would I not be able to get those?
No, we get those too.
You want to double down?
I mean, I mean, it's not a bad idea. I'll run it by my wife. My wife runs a company and is the one that hired the booker.
I don't have a budget that's going to save you that much money.
I think in all honesty, I think it's good for the business because you don't do the same thing I do. So like someone can come on your podcast and it's a very different interview than mine.
Right. But isn't that the case with a lot of things?
No. I mean, I'm a derivative of everyone. I feel like my podcast isn't that original.
Then why do people like it so much? Because they like you.
I think because I laugh at my own jokes.
No, they don't watch it because you laugh.
Because I fucking get drunk. I'm not sure. I don't know why anyone likes me.
Do you get drunk on your podcast a lot?
Sometimes, not anymore really much at all.
Do you drink though still?
Yeah, I'm going to be drinking in an hour. What time is it? 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
I have a podcast at 2. I should be fine.
Next time I do yours or you do mine. Do
you want to drink?
I don't drink. I'm not sober. Maybe I'm open to it. I just don't love the way I feel on it.
Why?
I just don't love the way I'm a very controlling person and I don't feel in control when I'm drinking.
Okay.
I was going to suggest, and I'm open to it because it's a novelty, but I was going to suggest I get super high and you get drunk.
Okay.
But I would be willing to drink.
We can both get high. I like getting high.
You want to do a high episode? I'm talking high, by the way.
You're high right now?
No. I'm talking about like getting high.
No, I maybe, let me rephrase that. So the way you feel about being out of control with alcohol,
I get it.
I'm that way with weed. I like to get a little.
Well, that's why I was going to suggest you be in a different, you be your alter ego, I be mine, but we're still in control of ourselves.
Let's do it.
High. I want to get high and I want you to be drunk.
Let's do it.
All right.
Done.
I love stoned episodes, dude.
I love being a tad bit.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what this is yet, but I have a version of this because we don't live that far apart.
Mm-hmm.
No, because then it's a different thing.
5 minutes.
I was going to suggest a 2-part episode, but as one episode where like, here's how we film it. We film it this way. I go to on yours and you get super drunk and I get stoned, or vice versa. Yeah. And then another day, but we do it as, all right, let's walk over to your house now. And then I'm drunk and you're stoned, whatever. And we do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Like a Freaky Friday.
Exactly. You know what we could do? What we do is in the
wear each other's clothes
in the act break. I was going to say, you and I on our walk over, we found. Have you seen what's the Jason Bateman, Ryan Reynolds one where they switch the change up?
No.
Oh, where they piss in a fountain and they change bodies.
Oh no, but I would love that.
You'd love it. Well, we're at each other's places, and while we're walking to the other one's place, we find a fountain to piss in, and we change. Now I'm drunk and you're high, but we really get that way, and we film that.
Oh, then we do that one here.
Yeah, and we have to do it a different day because you have to sober. Yeah. In fact, when we film at your place, I'm not going to do an impression of you. I'm not going to be Bert, and you're not going to be Rick, but it's going to be. I'm going to just do it my podcast at your place because we switch bodies.
Yeah.
But the real conceit, instead of just that novelty, is one of them you're super drunk, one of them I'm super drunk, and the other one is super high. And see the difference between drunk Bert and high Bert, drunk Rick and high Rick, and just the novelty of switching locations.
Yeah, I think I'm confused. Because if we switched bodies, then wouldn't Rick be inside me?
But the problem is then you'd have to do an impression of me, and I think that'll wear off quickly. So instead of switching bodies, we switch drugs.
You're right. I would get lost in my impression. Do you have any idea how difficult it would be,
especially when you're
drunk and high as shit, to do an impression of you?
That's why I don't think we switch bodies. We switch drugs.
Okay.
So like the weed comes out, the weed comes out of my body into yours, and the booze. Basically, here's what it is. Here's what it is.
We run over a gypsy, and she goes, "Oopsie doopsie, lopsy loopsy." You get woozy. You can't say gypsy.
You can't say oopsie doopsie. Bleep when I said it. So here's what we do. Here's what we do. I'm at your place, right? I'm at your place, and I'm super high. No, here's what it is. Because I'm super high, and you're super. Another version of this. My place is a weed place. Your place is a drunk place.
Okay.
But if you were drunk and I was high, we do it, and then we walk outside, and I would do it to where you throw up in my mouth, and while you're throwing up, all the smoke is coming out of mine into yours.
I throw up and you cough at the same time. And so I throw up in your mouth, but that weed smoke goes into me.
All the booze goes into me. All the drunk goes into you. Whatever. We yell for 3 minutes, edit it down, and now we switched.
Yeah, your podcast is very different than mine.
So get me some guests. Get me Paul Rudd.
You'd be great with Paul Rudd. There's so many people I'm not good with improv actors, like improv guys, because sometimes they don't want to talk about how they feel or what they did or they just want to have fun. There's so many of those guys that you could just have fun with for an hour.
You don't like, what do you mean? You don't like playing?
I do.
I guess this is we started off with the national anthem, but then it gets into we talk.
I like talking, but I like playing, but I don't like playing with everyone. I have a really hard time also with I have a hard time with make-believe characters, make-believe people.
Like you wouldn't want to have the Tooth Fairy on your podcast?
No. If it's hard to explain. I don't want to blow up anyone's spot. But if someone plays a character, a lot of people play characters online, and then they'll be like, "Are you doing Howard Stern?
You're gonna be me."
And then they'll be
you're talking about characters, I have my mustache tray,
And then they're talking to you and "Hey, it's Bert right now," and you're like, "Oh, cool, what's up?" And you're like, "I just want to tell you this, Bert. All right, the machine's coming on. Here we go. Hey, yeah!" And then you're like, I don't know if to call you Bert or the machine, and I don't know if people know or don't know. I'm really bad at that. I'm really, really bad at that.
You're bad at it because you don't like it, or because you get confused?
Same reason I don't like clowns. I get confused and I don't know what's real.
Huh.
And there's people, I'll tell you off air, there's people I have a hard time podcasting with because I know that it's a character that they're doing, and I don't know how I should react.
Here's where I could connect.
Okay.
When I'm talking to people and somebody does a joke. Love jokes.
Yeah.
Great. I do them all the time. But sometimes someone will do a joke that isn't a throwaway. It doesn't end now.
Yeah.
It's a joke where they're almost inviting you to play this game. And I don't want to.
Like when people go, so I walked up to the guy and he was like, "Here, give me your hand." And you're like, "Oh, great. Now I'm in this improv." Like, okay. Hey, all right. And then now push me a little bit. And you're like, "Okay. Just tell me the story. What happened?"
Sure.
Yeah.
Not that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is when somebody says something, here, let me give you a smaller version. When somebody says something that doesn't make you laugh, which is totally fine. Mm-hmm. Their intention was to make you laugh and you don't laugh. And they go, "What? It's funny."
Yeah.
And I go, "What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go, ha, 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 ha? Or do I have to play back?" Sometimes I don't want to play back. And that's where I learned where I could be exhausting. I try and sometimes not force that on other people now. No. But I have been on both sides. Sometimes I just want to play.
Yeah. There's I'll tell you the name after the show.
Okay.
I'll tell you a couple names after the show where I have a hard time. I sometimes I don't do well in those scenarios.
I still have so many questions for you that I'm not going to do now about what you do and how you do it. Maybe I'll ask you a couple more.
Go, yeah.
You have a podcast that has other things too, but your podcast is your most consistent thing.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Now my podcast and my cooking show are my most consistent.
Excuse me. Your YouTube.
Yes.
Like your own generated stuff.
My content is that format, and that is my most consistent.
More than stand up. Stand up, you take some time off.
No,
never.
No, I haven't taken time off. I haven't taken time
After
off.
you film your special, you go right into the next.
I'm already touring. Yeah, I've already filmed. I filmed it in November. I'm already touring with new
So
material.
when you said two pillars, then they're equal.
Yeah, they're dead equal. I dare I say, I make way more money doing stand up than I ever could physically make doing podcasting.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What are your ticket prices?
They're from all over the map. I mean, that you can get, depending on what levels we open, you can get some fairly affordable tickets, and if you want to get really close, they can get a little pricey. But I added a big stage production to help feel like it made sense to me to warrant that you're seeing a show, you're seeing an event. I bought a whole lighting package. I'll tell you or rented it for like $1.4 million.
How much you get to use it?
Every show
for a tour. So that $1.4 million is your budget for that package for what is it? 6 months? 8 months?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to take a look, but I think it's I don't know.
Do you have a director? Not for your special, but for your tour.
I have a production coordinator. Yeah,
and they direct this,
and they take care of everything. I have a lighting director that comes in and sets up all the lights, and then I have a tour manager, meaning it's a little bit bigger. It's more like a tour director, and he organizes absolutely everything.
Does he only work with you, or does he work with other people?
He works with other people, and he organizes everything, kind of oversees it, and then I have a tour manager that's on the ground that she deals with him.
And do you allocate a lot to them, or do you put yourself in there as well?
I'm in there as equally as much. Yeah.
All right. So instead of asking a generic, somebody starting a podcast, what would you give them advice on? And stand up, et cetera. I'm not going to make it generic. I'm going to say me. I'm going to say, Bert, give me some advice. Where I am right now with my podcast, stand up, by the way, don't even have a stand up agent. I'm not asking for help. I'm not asking for help by any means. It has in a way been my choice. I'm now ready because I have an audience now. I'm like, I want to go back to doing this.
Yeah.
But knowing where I am, what advice would you give me to, I want to grow my podcast audience so more people come to shows. That's what I want.
I agree. Yeah.
What advice would you give me both for doing that, but also on how to then translate that into ticket sales? Meaning not just being like, what's up guys? I'm at the blah, 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 yada, yada, but like get people to want to come see this thing that they like already, which is different than my stand-up.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you when you shine for me is when you get people that I'm like, how the fuck did he get that?
You're saying my guests.
Your guests is when you pop. And when you have big guests, it draws eyes. But when you have big guests, other eyes land on it because you go, oh, I love Bobby Lee also. Oh, I love Santino. Like when you got Kristen Bell, that was like an eye opener for everyone. Everyone's like, oh shit, his podcast is like, he's taking it serious. And then that once people believe in you, then they start listening to all of them. And then they go, oh,
but I have that.
He's got Bill Burr on.
I already have great guests. I just had Burr on, which brought me a great new audience.
Yeah.
And by the way, the episodes are all, they're great. They're worth watching.
Yeah.
So I have that already.
You've got a great podcast.
And I want to keep doing that. But
keep
what
doing
else?
that. That's just building. I think that you should. I think you'd work well with maybe like a couple technicians in here to like.
I like people. I really believe this translates. When people watch this podcast, they're in the living room with us. I know that sounds corny, but when you're in a studio, and there's nothing wrong with it, there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
If you're just talking about the way I look at cameras, I have a fix for that I'm working getting new equipment and a monitor.
Yeah.
I don't want to have people in here. What will that offer me, though?
You're right. I think, to be honest with you, I think that the best thing that'll serve you is just following your heart and your head, because the thing you talked about earlier is a really interesting idea.
The thing that we edited out.
Yeah, the edited out is a really, really interesting, kind of fun, playful, let's put fun back in comedy idea. And I think that special would be really fun to watch. And I think, you know, that your podcast is so different than everyone else's. It should be on the run of celebrities promoting movies. Your podcast is very unique. It's not, look, mine is, do you want to have a drink or cigar and just talk? Tom Segura. Like your mom's house is Tom showing them clips to see if it makes them uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, Joe's is a 3-hour in-depth interview, but yours is funny and fun and loose. And because it's edited in such a way, it will make celebrities feel very, very comfortable.
It has. I have found that after having certain people on my podcast, it has both created credibility to my podcast, but also when I reach out to people, I show them little clips of people who they're friends with. Because at this point, everybody that I'd want to have them on is probably at least one of their friends has been on my podcast.
Yeah.
So that does do something. They're like, oh, this looks cool. It's still very, very hard to get in touch with them or get them to see my thing.
Well, one booker would help. Would getting the booking process off of your lap would open up free space for you.
What is that going to cost me?
I don't know. Find out what my lady is. It's not that much.
Okay, so a booker is. I'm looking. What tangible advice? A booker. I agree.
Booker would be. It would be a game changer.
What else? Because we're talking stand up and podcasting, and I do think I don't need help with my stand up, my craft. I'm not talking about that. No. I'm talking about translating to ticket sales.
I mean, the game changer for me was promoting my shows. Was finding my unique way to promote your shows. Same way your brain works with that. I worked with what?
Oh, the cards.
The cards. I worked with what I liked.
Right.
With what I liked to do, what I liked to see.
Yeah.
Like I was into certain people, and I knew I'd buy tickets to certain things, especially music. If I saw a guy doing something cool, I'd be like, I kind of want to see them live.
Yeah. The first one I saw of yours was when you had the marching band, and it blew me away.
Yeah.
Of course, do that. Yeah. Because also there's a call to action in the moment. If you see this and you're laughing, I want to go. You buy it right now. You wouldn't have done that. It's not just wanting to see you. It's wanting to feel the thing they felt when they're watching the thing.
And I think that's
But that's far away from me. I still feel like.
No, you need to. I would utilize this podcast to sell tickets for one night shows, and I'd book one night in markets where you know your numbers are big based on.
I'm doing that the first
RSS
time,
feed.
which this will be out by now, but next Thursday I'm doing my first time doing that at Irvine.
In Irvine?
I'm serious what that's going to sell.
And you're promoting it through here?
I've promoted it on here. It's the only where, and Instagram. I don't know what the ticket sales are going to be like. I'll know when it happens.
Are they on sale right now?
Yeah. Well, by the time I had already done it, maybe I'll cut to a clip. Knock, knock. Who's there? Okay, you guys already heard that.
Bad joke, you fucking kike. It's a bad joke. These people deserve better.
All right, hold on. Hear him out. I'm somebody who, like in a democracy, thinks it's important to hear both sides. So
People pay good money to hear good comedy. When are you going to give it to them? Knock knock jokes?
That's not okay. Hold on a second. I got it, my brother. Maybe it was a bad joke.
Yeah, no shit.
But guess what?
Well,
please, Brent, for the love of Christ, this is my fucking moment. I got a Jew hater. Let me get the viral clip. You did it.
now
You
you're
did
doing bad jokes backstage.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking struggling over here, dude. This is hard. You think you could do it? You Jew-hating cuck fucking... What's your name?
Oh, yeah, Dan.
Dan?
Yeah.
Rick. That's what we do to the people that are... That's what we do to people who hate
because of your religion or the color that your face is or the color that your pussy hair is. All right? Thank you so much. My name is Rick
Glassman. It's the show's next week.
Yeah, you can find out the ticket sales, and it's really important to find out the ticket sales to know what you need to promote, know what you gotta, and then once you know there's an immediate, there's an urgency to sell more tickets. I find that I get more creative.
So I know what my sales are as of last week. I'm saying I don't know what they will be.
Find out what they are today.
Well, last week they were at 200.
That's not bad.
It seats 5. And I'm curious how much happens with 2 weeks notice, like 2 weeks in advance.
You find, well, first of all, ticket sales boost up the week of.
That's what I'm curious about. How
no
much.
one knows what the fuck they're doing Thursday night.
Yeah,
but need to know that ticket sales build up the week of and the day before and that morning of.
It's in a week. It's literally in a week. So what should I do today?
I would be on social media talking about that Irvine show, because you got to remember, there's a lot of people that want to see that show that just forgot.
Yeah.
It just forgot. There's people actually that bought tickets to the show that forgot they bought tickets. They do that. And eventize that Thursday night. Guys, hey guys, it's Rick. Thursday night I'm at the Improv. Let's have a good time. I've got the whole club to myself. Let's do it. I'm going to do a meet and greet after. I've got a bunch of cool merch. If you guys want trading cards or whatever, I will see you there Thursday night at the Irvine Improv.
Right. Bring trading cards, signed cards.
Eventize it. Make it a fun night for your fans.
I mean, it will be.
Your fans want to celebrate your success. They do. That's why they're fans. Like when the Eagles win, they climb up fucking telephone poles. They're celebrating for those players.
Like in the movie Invincible.
They lose their mind because that's their team. Your fans eventize the night so that your fans get to celebrate you, and they celebrate you by laughing with you, by you throwing them a party for yourself. You're throwing a party for yourself, and you're inviting everyone to come and join in, and you're going to have fun. You'll smoke weed at the end of the night. You get a car service to drive you back and forth, and you'll make a little money, and then you'll sit out and do a meet and greet. You'll answer some questions, do a Q&A at the end. It'll be fun.
Should I do a Q&A?
I think you would.
That means I have to cut the show a little shorter to give time.
No, it doesn't.
Just make it go long?
Yeah, go long. Is it 2 shows on Thursday?
It's 1 show.
Yeah, it's your show. It's your night. You got the whole club. But make the Q&A yours.
What do you mean?
Make the Q&A. Use your brain about your brain. I don't mean that derogatory, but use your brain to make the Q&A yours, so that when your fans come, they didn't just see a Q&A, they saw Rick Glassman Q&A, and then that's a part of the show. It's a part of the show. It makes it fun.
So I do my closer. Thank you. Good night. I walk off and I walk right back on with I change my shirt really quick and I walk on and I go, all right, it's Q&A time.
Maybe now it's a sweater.
Right.
And you change and you take your shoes off and you go, okay, guys.
Well, at that point, I need to think about producing it a certain way and having certain things. I don't think I have time for that for this next week.
Yes, you do. But you can make it fun for your fans. Like have a set
with a rug and a couch. Do I bring people up?
Make it fun for the people.
Actually, I do have some ideas that could be cool.
Yeah, but don't short sell your fans on the experience.
How so? What would be an example of short selling them?
So I'll give you an example of how I approached it. I needed new material for this tour, and I had a big stage, and we're doing arenas, and they're arenas, and they're bigger. And I thought, if you're doing an arena, your walk-on shouldn't just be from the side of the stage and just thank you.
You need to be lower from the ceiling.
Well, we looked into that. We looked into a zip line bringing me down, but then I'd have to sit up there.
While they're greeting you? While everyone's coming in?
No, I had to sit up there while the other 2 comics were on stage, and I can't imagine sitting through people's acts in a harness.
Can I tell you something? That's good BTS.
It's great BTS, but I just made the stage different so that I come up from under it, right, and the lighting sets it up, and then I walk out. I have a full beer. I kill it to the music, rip the shirt off, lights pop, create a barrier.
By the way, I don't think this is a spoiler. You open the.
It's definitely not a spoiler by now.
Right. When you rip your shirt open,
yeah.
Are those buttons flying practical or is that digital?
It's practical.
I rewound it 3 times. Also, yeah. I noticed that you probably did some pickups, so you couldn't have done it just before the show, right?
I did it 4 times before we filmed the tape, and then I did it every show.
Yeah. Okay. It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
And I thought, I know around it specifically looking as a digital, whoever the cinematographer of that
Jeff Tomzik.
Also, great call getting buttons like that just to really show it.
Thank you.
The way they fly out, it looked like it was in post.
By the way, let me be very clear. I do not know which one it is. I don't know if it's digital or not. I just know that
it might be then. If you don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But it was, well, that was the whole premise of this. So we had this guy Jordan, who's doing Shane Torres' special in New York next week. We had him and Jeff Tomzik wanted slow motion, a very, very fucking intense camera shot. So we shot 4 of them when no one was in the audience. So it might be one of those.
Because it would have been straight on.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed, and it's good editing, not bad, but I could see where an edit happened, was when you were doing it in front of the audience, you saw your face doing it a certain way, but then when it was close, it was very dramatic, and it had to have been different takes unless you consciously changed an energy like that, but it just made that thing very dynamic.
Yeah. All right. I have to go.
All right. I got to get a Polar Radio.
Okay, let's do it. Hey, thank you.
Thanks for coming, man.
I appreciate it.
I'm very inspired right now. I hope this lasts.
I hope. Isn't that the fucking... It's like when you come back from Europe and you're going, I just want a baguette and some cheese. And then you're like, fuck it, I'll get a Big Mac.
Yeah, well, I get it. I need to take a Polaroid, so stay there. Okay. And scoot to.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee.